Plat chat, episode 169. I think we're live. This is great.
Double check before I start giving my good banter.
RuneScape?
Did you
want to talk about
RuneScape plugin?
I'm not gonna lie.
Let's
Dude,
talk
when
about
the game
the plugin.
released,
Let's talk about RuneScape.
when the game released and the tank queues were like 10 minutes long, I honestly started playing RuneScape on stream.
Why didn't you tell me?
Dude, I got to like fishing level 7, bro, or something.
I got 6.99s.
That is pretty
I'm
crazy.
a degenerate.
I mean, that's... I consider myself a classic WoW nerd, but like getting that far in RuneScape, that might
I'm
be
sorry,
worse.
you farmed out Grand Marshal, and you're calling me a degenerate. For
Yeah, I have some career regrets when I reflect on that, where I'm like, oh, Joss and Sideshow like pivoted to an entirely new scene, and meanwhile, I killed people in World of Warcraft and got a title. Like there was pretty big discrepancy there in like career achievements.
I mean, that could be like doing knowledge for World of Warcraft esports.
People will be like, I released my first book during COVID, and I'll be like, cool. I was in Arathi Basin for like 80 hours in a week.
Well, actually, is it World of Warcraft esports? Isn't the biggest World of Warcraft esports like the PvE events, not PvP?
MDI, yeah, Mythic Dungeon Invitational.
That's just a mix. I mean, the biggest ones are the world first races. They get pretty massive.
Yeah, exactly, which is all PvE, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So, I mean, technically, you could argue that you've been doing some market research.
Wait, have we started yet?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, we started.
Okay.
This is the podcast.
This is our 20-minute ramble before we talk about Overwatch.
Dude, chat doesn't even know. Chat is like, do they know they're live? Yeah, we know we're live.
he says, have we started? And then AVRL walked off. He got up and he's like, okay, we started. And then he gets up and walks away.
Sounds... To be fair, he got up like, what, 20 minutes ago? Because Johnny forgot daylight savings doesn't exist in Australia.
How is it my fault?
It was AVRL. AVRL's fault. He didn't realize the daylight savings. To be fair, we probably should have synced on that. But, you know.
Yeah. On Sunday, April 2nd, Australia turns clocks back an hour. Wait, what?
April 2nd, there you go. So it's soon.
Wait, so they turn it back an hour and we turn it forward an hour?
Different hemispheres.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, right.
Different hemispheres,
Of course, yeah.
We're discussing daylight savings time in Australia right now. We're currently discussing that.
That is...
Oh, okay.
That is...
I like your shirt today, Apple.
I was going to say,
that
looks looking fucking clean, actually.
I went did some painting. It's just the accident that happened. How does...
It looks like a Boston
That's how
shirt.
you're picking up your secondary income in the off-season?
you know, you get bored in the off-season how it is, so, you know.
Do you have an Etsy? Should we promote your Etsy?
No, you can't do Etsy because SVB they can't pay out the vendors. SVB I think until because they're a lot of the
bank
Etsy
run that Silicon Valley got fucked by.
Yeah. Oh, what a legendary moment.
Guys, Plat chat lost all of its money.
Yeah,
we kept all of our reserve, $1 billion we kept in SVB.
Yeah,
we lost it all.
It's all locked
all because
in
our bank
bonds.
wanted to buy a bunch of.
We're not talking about the streamer, right? I just gotta make this clear because I'm confused.
No, Silicon Valley Bank.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, he was getting added a lot. He was getting added a lot on Twitter about it because people were like, at SVBOW, like, why you're the reason fractional reserve banking still exists in this country. Essentially, like it was just like he was roped into like crazy monetary policy discussions and like. People with NFT profile pictures being like, now this wouldn't have happened if we were all on the Bitcoin standard. And like this, it was just crazy.
That's because you get roped into the Avast antivirus conversation. I will eventually get roped into the next Jaws movie that comes out, and it's probably not going to be very good. So I'm going to get hate for that. Although I do get atted every now and then by a Jaws podcast about the film. They just at everybody that's Jaws, and I am on the list.
That's a bold marketing
verified
choice.
So they're like, this guy, get him on the podcast.
Yeah, you should show up one day and get them to invite you on.
I should. That would be sick. What a crossover.
We're really thinking ahead. I really just got Reinforce because I plan to sell it to some mega corporation that wants to be called Reinforce 10 years from now. And then I can sell it. I can sell my Twitter account with 50k followers.
We could do the same with like every.
You say that, Johnny. You say that, but really? Then Uber just had Mitch had his Twitter account taken away by Uber, the company.
No shot. He was not the original Uber.
I think he had Uber.
He didn't have 4-letter Uber.
No
that would
way.
be insane.
You're gonna have to ask him. I'm pretty sure he's told the story that Uber, the company, took away his tag. He would have to tell that story.
I could see like Instagram doing that because that's Facebook. They're but Twitter.
Twitter don't give a fuck either. Twitter don't fucking care.
Yeah, I have actually heard about this. Jaws. That it does happen.
Yeah, they're a mega corp. They don't give a shit.
But how does like so here's the thing is that like because like Uber Eats and DoorDash them, they don't make money. So like they're spending all their money on taking down Uber's Twitter account to like give them the original Uber. Like also how speaking of monetary policy, how the fuck do you charge like $20 for a $10 burrito once you add on the fees and you don't make money? Like that's insane.
Yeah, it doesn't
like,
make sense.
Food delivery services not make it's almost insulting because they're like they charge you more for doing nothing, and then they still don't make money.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know
how
they spend all their money. They keep giving me like 40% off codes. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, that's
they can throw those my way. I'm not getting.
They still are losing like $1 billion a year for those services, and I'm like, how you don't do anything?
Advertising and shit. Advertising and do you remember that thing a few years ago? The Prop 65, Prop 60 fucking 9. And they were like, oh, Uber drivers, like, oh, they're going to get fucked over if this goes through. And it was just all paid for by Uber so they could charge you more and fuck over the drivers. Like, that's what they spend their fucking money on.
And they're still not making money, dude.
You don't understand Avast, okay? They're a growth company, okay? They just haven't fulfilled
They've been growing for, what, 6-7 years? They're still growing. How long they've been growing for? They're full-ass adult.
Leave them
They're
alone.
no longer growing. They need to be. They're grown. They should be grown by now.
They will take over additional industries. Oh my god, dude, I cannot believe this shit. We've been live for what? 6 minutes, and I swear to God, I'm getting fucking RuneScape ads on my Liquipedia page.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we weren't live.
Wait, what is that? What is that? Build a Mighty Fortress?
No, that's like a mobile. It's like a mobile game.
RuneScape fourth and 3. Who the fuck?
That's a scam. That's a fucking scam. Whatever that is, that's a fucking... Oh, that's RuneScape 3, bro. Nah, get that off my screen. I don't give a shit.
How did they know we're talking about RuneScape?
Because you've played it before.
Yeah, but like, what are the odds?
You Googled it just before we started the show.
Garbage, old school RuneScapes, where is that?
I don't know. This is sus. This is sus. All right, we gotta get into the episode now because it's been one hell of a week. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't felt this much. I don't know if it's FOMO, but like I feel like there's so much going on in the community. I'm just like, my brain is just like overcharged. Like there's too many electrons firing in my brain because there's scrim leaks everywhere, and like I can't follow with everything, and like leaked rosters, and it's just all over the place. Like this is the most exciting the community's been in months, probably most active at least.
Right. I mean, yeah, look, it's been first time chatters in Twitch channels just fucking jumping in, just dropping a code, then fucking off. It's been a good time. It's been a good fucking time. I honestly fucking shout out to the players charging money for their fucking scrims. Codes. Legendary shit. Absolute king shit.
Bring up Albert's tweet.
40
Albert?
fucking
oh yeah,
subs.
Albert did just make a tweet.
Bring up Albert's tweet right now.
Wait, did he?
It's stupid as shit. It's
Honestly,
literally just what you're
it's the
saying,
best.
Jack.
Dude, it's so good.
Dude, I love Albert, man.
Yeah,
well, it's building off of that sentiment essentially. Of
Feeling
like,
generous, 500k, and I leak every scrim code for the entire season. You won't get a deal like this ever again, so act fast.
It's a little silly.
This is how you fund the new Florida roster, man.
this is how you monetize esports.
Yeah.
You want to? Oh, dude, we figured it out like 3 weeks ago. Told us we finally figured it out. Yeah. I think if r/competitive Overwatch, you know, if everyone puts in $5 each, you might do it. You know, start a GoFundMe for this.
How much will I get memed on if I seriously propose like you could buy like a scrim subscription to a team and you pay like $120 a year and you get access to all their scrim codes?
Probably, I think you need to make if you were even to propose it seriously, it would have to be like half that cost.
I was going to say $5 a month, and then
unless you're looking to make your own content. So like if someone VOD reviews their content, then you charge them more.
Luckily, I didn't propose that.
To monetize.
I would never propose that. That would be very stupid.
He's been thinking about
what I like AVRL's idea, where it's like, what if everyone in the competitive Overwatch subreddit and like Twitter, they all paid $5 a month into like a Patreon, but then we called it like something like some sort of service where like, you know, you're paying money to potentially like support the league and then you go watch it. So like you're paying the money to watch the league, but you're not paying to watch, really, you're just paying to support it. So like it's kind of like a pay-per-view, but not really.
This is like this is the weirdest pay-per-view ever, where it's like instead of paying, like you said, instead of paying to watch the actual league, you're paying to just watch scrims. which is just like the practice. That's
well, it's
what
just
you're
reverse
paying
psychology. You trick people into like, no, you're not paying to watch the league. You're paying to support the league. It's a Patreon, but it's literally just pay-per-view with extra steps. But I think that would work.
We should really take it one step further and just go knock door to door and see if anyone wants to sign up for All Access.
No,
Pass.
that's not going to work because no one answers the door anymore.
That's true. I've never answered my door.
Dude, people show up at my door and I'm like, no, I'm not home. Absolutely not.
I actually do that with packages. Like if they ring the doorbell once, I'm like, nah. But if they ring the doorbell twice, I'm like, okay, I'll sign something.
If it's delivery, they leave it. I don't get anything signed. I've never had to get anything. I don't get anything delivered that's signed. I know all my spent uranium fuel rods. I don't get too regularly, so like I'm not having to sign off for those.
All right. Before we get into the actual like screwing bucks and change and all that, I wanted to start off with a fun little topic. You know, just the fun little nice stuff about the league. We got new skins, guys. You Overwatch League skins. Woo!
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about these new skins, by the way, and the new color schemes? Paris's actually looks like one of the best.
Yeah, Paris look good.
Oh, yeah, the colors are clean, dude. They are clean. And the gladiators, I'm sorry, Glads. Love the orb. Have you seen a Glad
one by one, Joss. Here's Vegas.
All right, okay, sorry.
Look at this.
Ahead of myself.
Nice.
I'm not actually going to have to go one by one.
The Ram skins are all so good.
I don't know if they're showing Ram in this video. Here's Ryan. That's a pretty clean Ryan skin. Yeah, this is nice. That belly.
The colors are sick.
Yeah.
The colors.
Eternal honestly has like kind of poggers like graphics and branding.
Yeah.
I mean,
then they're still appropriating the cock. They're really not allowed to have the cock anymore.
But besides
that, there's the cock.
Is it a little close to like Defiant colors?
No, not really. I think it's different enough because of the accent.
You know? Yeah, I think Seoul Infernal is more dangerous.
Because like we got too many red-black teams now. You know, like this is how many teams are going red-black in color schemes.
It's just such a cool color combination.
It is. It's probably the best, but at least this one's got a bit of gold on it to differentiate.
I mean, we also have a lot of blue. We have blue and red-black are like our two things. Our two most.
So now here's because we're on the red and black thing. Here's Seoul Infernal.
Not bad, I'd say.
It's just more red than black. Here's the Rostra.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, the Ramacha ones are good. The Nemesis form ones are even better.
I can't bring that up because it's a video. But yeah, more red and black. So I don't know if I love this much red. And then you said LA Gladiators. They got some.
I have played with a ton of Glads. Look at how egregious. It is more egregious in game. Like it is so bright.
It's the pink. The pink is not good.
Wear that skin, I'm like, there's no wonder you're dying once every fucking minute. Like you stick out like a sore thumb on any map. If they
look like Power Ranger villains
a little bit, yeah. Oh man,
why'd they throw the pink in there?
Okay, I'm gonna sag here. I actually, at least they're unique. At least they're not just like, we're
because they're the only purple team.
They're the only purple team though. They're the only one that can claim the colors.
No, but they're using like two bright colors to like complement themselves, whereas other teams are just like
that is okay,
all the Zarya ones are off, by the way. For some reason, for Zarya, they just forgot to color her, and it's just like,
dude. But that's the thing with Zarya for a long time. I think Zarya's had like the original cast. Zarya has consistently had some of the worst skins. Yeah, like in my opinion, I think Zarya for an original hero, like that's been in the game since Overwatch 1. She has had consistently some of the worst skins, and I don't understand how.
Some of the worst skins?
Yeah, 100%. Her skins,
I agree.
She does, but if you compare her to like all the original cast, has like of the original hero roster have way larger amounts of good skins. Sorry, does.
Her best skin is Frosted, which is an epic skin.
No, it's the 80s skin.
Epic skin.
Talking about like the Overwatch skins, which is just a recolor. You can just color in the bits. All the Zarya Owl skins, there's just like a bunch of. It looks like they're all away skins on Zarya for some reason, even for home.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. Just color it in.
I thought it was a bug. Honestly, I thought it was a bug because actually, I think if you press the away skin, I think the away skin has more color than the home skin. So it's weird.
Yeah, doesn't make
sense.
Did
you see the hog skin for London?
No, London wasn't even up in the shop, was it?
Yeah.
They're not even in this video.
When I looked, it was.
London is not even in the video.
Well, London Hog, like the picture of the logo on his belly was so.
There's no London in this.
Yeah, because they missed London.
This is when they missed the London on release. Thinking? Yeah.
Oh,
so
right.
It might be out now, but on release
it might be fixed. But yeah, dude, the London fucking hog skin, it was like 5 pixels for the London logo. It was so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
Probably a reason they weren't in to begin with. But these look clean.
Yeah.
I think overall pretty exciting. There's some new combos. I think the Kiriko skins in general are really cool. I tweeted about that the Fox changes color as well. So I think that's pretty sick. Yeah, I don't know why they're not showing any.
Show Chengdu real quick. This will be the last chance you can get them before they disappear forever.
Oh my god.
Dude, that's I mean that's a topic for later in the video.
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm teasing. I'm just laying some breadcrumbs. What do they call this one? Chekhov's Chengdu Hunters? Is that what it is?
The smoking gun. There it is.
They're pretty sick.
Not bad.
So there we go.
And they got
We're too late.
What you call it? Weapon charms too now, which is pretty sweet. And
yeah,
there's also
right.
Gold weapon charms. If you view it in the hero gallery, there are gold versions. I've seen a lot of people, and I do agree, if they weren't on the coin and it was just the logo as a whole, it would look better. I still think it's cool, but yeah, there's a solid gold version of them, and there's no way to currently unlock them. So it might be for like maybe winning a tournament, or like they have to win a tournament, or like something like that, maybe. But
I wish they would get
charge the fans more. Just charge them 100 coins more to get the gold version. I'm serious,
or do it like the Valorant skins where you have different tiers of it. Like I wish they would get flashier. If they're gonna start adding stuff,
we should get Radiant. I love Radiant.
I mean, you should like it's a good monetization model to be like you have the base skin, you have like an upgraded skin, and you have like the top tier skin. You know, it's a good. It's like
New York
it gets the gamblers going.
Yeah, the New York graffiti kind of.
Their skins and branding are just as always clear their actual competitive team.
I think the upgrading part's cool, but I think the Radiant system in Valorant is kind of heinous for like how egregiously expensive it is. If you're buying
I agree. I agree with the expense part. I'm just saying. I'm simply talking about the model.
Aside from that,
itself.
it's fine. Yeah, the model's fine, I suppose.
It's not like people give a shit how stuff. Like I've not seen one single complaint about Valorant's monetization. Like maybe
people do complain about it, but the thing is, everyone's buying it still.
Yeah,
you know, like that's the thing. Like people complain about it, but like, okay, just don't buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't tell the Overwatch players about Valorant monetization. They have no idea. They don't know.
I mean, there is a little part in our community, I guess, that we just like look at Valorant and we just like, oh, everything is great with Valorant. Everything's fantastic with Valorant. Oh, things just suck for us. But like, guys, they have their own problems. It's like Instagram, okay? Just because they had lock-in and everything was great and the crowd pop off. Valorant still have their own problems, you know? Everyone's working through some stuff, you know? So don't just look at Valorant like it's perfect.
Well, it's not the same problems though. We're not talking about the same. This is like basic game functionality things versus like wider esport issues. You know.
Sure.
Generally, I think they've done a lot of that stuff right. But once again, this is like that's a whole separate discussion.
Yeah.
They've done, but it's the point being. I just would like to see them have upgradable skin tiers because they could still do more with the skins and like charms, like Valorant does.
Yeah.
So that's like the point.
They should at some point. Oh my god, I talked about this a fucking year ago, but like banners that go all the way across that show you support the team, the fucking just anything that's like, oh, a title maybe, and it's like, oh, a Boston supporter, or like, you know, their hashtags like fucking Texas hard, dude, Avast, and then it's Texas hard, like, you know, just stuff
player
like
profile, like those profile things could be really
people
cool
like
to
that
have.
shit.
Like, yeah, it would be fun to have.
People like
as well.
profile stuff, and even the banners, which don't really show, they show when you load in the game, they're on your profile, but like I think they're pretty cool. Like anything that's kind of slight customization, I like that. So
if I was a team owner, I'd go to Blizzard and be like, the championship skin should be mythic, and it should be customizable, representing a team. And the developers would probably be like, that is so much work for us. There is no way. And I'd be like, make it happen.
Make it.
Yeah, just do it.
And then they wouldn't.
It needs to be an esports mythic skin.
And then they would not do it, but it would be fun.
Thank you to Bro You Whack for the skins video, who posted all these skins, so I could use.
And also his girlfriend Crystal Rain, I think, who designed a lot of the questions for them as well. So I think they both did a good job on that one.
What?
Bro You Whack.
Yeah.
He hosted the video on his channel with the developer, but his girlfriend was the one that made a lot of the questions. So like he hosted it on his channel and his girlfriend made a lot of the questions. I'm doing this to save you from yourself, Johnny.
There's
been a lot of flack been thrown around because people have been like, bro, you whack, you did all this, and like she herself was the one that put a lot of work to make the interview for like that video. So I'm just saving you from yourself here, okay?
I am so out of the loop. I am so.
I know you are.
Oh,
I'm saving you from yourself.
Thank
I'm
you.
saving you from yourself.
What would I do without my PR consultant, Avast, on the show? Thank you, representing PR for Plat LLC. All right, let's talk about the scrim leaks. Well, I don't know like if there's any substance to this topic, but it's just been crazy. Like initial reactions, like is this to stay? Do we think it'll be gone when the OPR comes around?
Why is this happening, by the way? Does anyone know why it's happening?
I don't people care.
Because I don't think people care. But secondly, I think didn't it start with like a hate campaign towards like Malthel, just like this is how bad Vegas are?
No, it started with the Defiant. It was the Defiant scrim leaks.
On a stream. That was the first one. On someone's stream, right?
Yeah, the Glads.
And then what happened is then Kaluj got essentially the way I understand it is that the Defiant scrim leaks happened, and then Kaluj got pissed because they're like, wow, you guys like cut off all the parts where we dominated you, and then Kaluj counter leaked the scrims where they showed them doing better. And then it just spiraled into a chain reaction of everyone memeing about it, essentially, is the way. And then I'm sure some of them were still just like legitimately leaked. Like I think Lip like accidentally showed some codes.
I think Punk accidentally showed the codes for the Vancouver Vegas thing.
So it's a mixture of people trolling and people.
Hardy purposely showed for Twitch subs.
Dude, absolute fucking legend. Charging money for that shit. That was $100 dues straight in his pocket for just showing some scrim codes. Absolute fucking legend.
But are the teams just cool with it, or there's no one cares, or what? Like they legitimately don't care?
Well, I think like a lot of these scrims this is like stuff for like, these are probably like early strats for like pro-am type of things, and like I don't think people are taking it too seriously. I also think in general, like people just, I mean, like are the culture around scrims is very different game to game, right? Because like Call of Duty, they stream.
You have to be fucking kidding me.
They literally stream their scrims like for content. Like they, not everything, like certain game modes they don't, but
it's out of control.
What? They're putting their own scrim codes out. I mean, why not? It's free content. Personally, it's free content. Like I think it's that's
what I'm saying. Like
it doesn't really matter that much, especially if it's like early on in the season before like pre-pro-am and like we're not locked into what the meta is gonna be yet. Like no one knows. Like I kind of think that like this is.
I mean,
fine.
I literally tweeted the same thing. I was like, you just stream it. Like, what are we waiting for? Like, just
I think once you get further into the season, and once you get further into the season, and like the meta solidify a bit, and like we're not doing pro-am, I think teams are gonna clamp down on that a lot. But you can definitely still during the season use scrims to be like, we're gonna stream a scrim as like content, right? Like just one scrim block. Okay, we're gonna like release some scrim codes for like X supporters or something like that. Like like. You can definitely utilize scrims for content a lot more. I just think part of the reason it's so rampant right now is that like right now it's like not, the stakes aren't very high. It's like the meta's not locked in. And B, also used to previously and this is like not only an Overwatch problem, like a lot of games had this issue, but like people just had such a stick up their ass about like the scrim like practice environment thing where they'd be like, yeah, we don't want to like have anyone sit in because we might leak our strats. I'm like, bitch, what are you talking about? You're busy getting rolled on King's Row playing like fucking like Sombra Cassidy into like the fucking May Rush comp, like you're just like, you're not like, people used to have such a huge, remember preseason debacle? All the preseason debacles we had with every Overwatch league were like, everyone be like, oh, we're gonna have a preseason, and all the teams like, oh, we don't care, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but we have to, we can't leak our strats. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, your strats? Like you're doing the same shit as everybody else. You're all trying to fucking conform to the cookie cutter meta. That's gonna happen. Like you don't have, like, half these guys don't have any fucking strats anyways. They're just playing the same goddamn game.
Someone replied to me, and God bless their soul. Like, they're not alone in this, so I'm not going to point them out. I'm not going to name them. But they were like, oh, but, what happens? We'll never have a big bamboozle again. And I'm like, how many big bamboozles have we had? Okay,
one. We had one ever in 5 years of Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Can't scrim that anyway. If you were trying to do a great bamboozle, you couldn't even show that in scrims.
Yeah, you couldn't couldn't show it in scrims maybe like once or twice. Like, the point being is that, like, the people used to have a way bigger stick up their ass about. I think players now and like teams at this point have gone to the point where like, okay, like We don't have to be extremely turbo serious 24/7 about it, especially at this stage.
They have done this a year before, because last year, when I was trying to get into scrims to legitimately learn a new fucking game, it was so hard at the start. All these teams are turning me down. Shanghai still never let me in. They were the only team that never actually let me in. And some teams, like the team manager wouldn't allow me in, but then the coach was like, fuck it, just come anyway. That was Hangzhou Spark. And in this year, it's like, oh, everyone's just leaking codes now. Boss Sunrise just throwing out a code. I'm like, well, fuck, what's going on? Oh, last year, like everyone was so guarded about it, and then this year, no one cares. It's crazy.
I think it's just and this is like an issue with like competitive esports in some degree, where it's like I remember we had that discussion of like, we had like, this is tangential, it's not related to this at all, but like essentially, have you ever heard the saying? It's like, I protected my peace too much, and now my life is boring. And by protecting your peace, essentially means you don't do anything. You're just like taking yourself way too fucking seriously, and that's like the issue with a lot of the teams, is that like they just took it way too fucking seriously when you could use it for content and just to have fun and stuff like that, when like, and let the league capitalize on certain things like preseason, for example, because you know, like I said, all the teams be like, nah, we're not gonna fucking do preseason because we can't leak our compositions. Like, bitch, the season hasn't started, the meta's not locked in, like you guys are just starting script, like you guys could play a fucking preseason, you know, and it doesn't matter. Like it literally doesn't matter. And it's also because halfway through the year, or not even halfway through the year, halfway through stage 1, half you bitches are all gonna be playing the same exact shit over and over and over again, playing the exact same thing because you just all conform to the cookie cutter meta, which is, and like, and you in that direction anyways, and you're not doing anything that exciting. Like you're just playing the same shit anyways. Like, cause like 90% of the game Overwatch and all esports is fixing the fundamental mistakes. Like you're not fucking setting up the exec on A site, hitting the perfect smoke with the molly. Like there's no like preset plays like at the same, like it's not the exact same shit. Like you're just polishing your mistakes the majority of the time. So I'm like,
it is a blessing. It really is a blessing,
nice.
Because we approach every off season with like, okay, so the league has said to us at least like, okay, so we're gonna do content, like all this shit. Obviously, you're like signed till this date or whatever. We're gonna do some shit. It's gonna be great, and then we'll do some stuff for preseason, which will like hype up the season. And it really never ends up happening. I mean, I guess you can count. Do you count Pro-Am as like preseason stuff? Because technically,
I count Pro-Am this year as preseason,
right?
Yeah.
So like, this is the first time we've had like the season starts here. We have a Pro-Am, which is very different from what we've ever done, including Tier 2, which is obviously extremely exciting. But in previous years, we've not really had anything of that. And there's still like a giant gap. Obviously, Johnny, I think you can kind of speak to this now as well. It's a bit of FOMO when you see a lot of other esports kind of starting already. And like, oh, Valorant start. Oh, League of Legends. Like Rocket League. Rainbow Six. And like, I'm watching Rainbow Six a lot at the moment. Like, and I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I want to be casting. Like, I want to be seeing like cool games. I want to be fucking like, you know, seeing what the meta is and shit. But obviously, we don't have that. With these scrim codes, I think Connor's right. You can definitely capitalize them on some way. You know, maybe not monetarily, but maybe. But even just like viewership wise and like content and like shit out there. Fuck
hey,
yeah.
Josh, you want to go cast some scrim codes after this?
Yeah, cast some script. Honestly, yeah, like fuck it, man. Let's get some fucking casting, bro. I'm sick and tired of fucking waiting around. Let's boot up some fucking custom games. We'll get one motherfucker to do obsing. We'll jump in a fucking Discord call and we'll do some shit, bro.
Who wants to do stats?
I don't give a shit anymore. Yeah, dude, I just get someone to observe for us real quick, and then fucking we're off to the fucking race. We'll just do the classic fucking observe ourselves back from like 2016, you know. Like, fuck it, man. Like, it is fun. It is extremely exciting to see. Yeah, like, for fans, too, it's like, whoa, the season is over. Like, what the fuck do we do? Oh, there's scrim codes? Let's fucking look. Let's have a look at fucking someone's stream that's hosting the scrim codes. Like, it's good content.
This has revealed, which was to no surprise to anybody, which is slightly backtracking the conversation a little bit, is like, yeah, what is going on in the preseason? Our off-season is once again so long that we're resorting to scrimmed leaked.
Actually, but we're only the second... we're the second shortest offseason of all time.
But it's still too long.
Yeah,
it is still too long though.
Remember,
even though it's like the second shortest, it's like, bro, if this is the second shortest, that says a lot. That really says a lot.
The longest was 6 months, right?
The longest was like 6 months. Yeah,
you're counting 2020 to the Pro-Am, right?
2020.
You're not counting the start of Overwatch League or like the league.
I'm counting. I feel like Pro-Am should count towards the start because Pro-Am is integrated into Overwatch League.
Yeah.
So yeah. It should count as the start.
All right. Yep.
Also, I have another point on this one. I have one more final point. This is more so. I hate Scrimbucks. I hate the Scrimbucks thing.
Yeah.
So Because here's the thing. So we've had this joking fight with ESK, and it still is a joke for the most part. Like I'm like, Scrimbucks is like, Scrimbucks are like, they're super. Well, it's mostly I hate it for the conversations I think this Scrimbucks narrative have built, where it's like, okay, last year Scrimbucks beat us in preseason predictions, right?
They did.
Okay, year before we beat Scrimbucks, right? And then like going forward, there's a conversation to be had. I think it's more so. I hate the Scrimbucks thing because it feels like it's like we've gone to these things like, where the Scrimbucks said this and yet you predded against the Scrimbucks. It's like, well, what the fuck's even the point of like having a brain if you're just gonna watch Scrims and whoever wins, you just like say like that's the better team for the rest of the year. Like I don't get it. Like, but there's an interesting conversation to be built off that of like, if Scrimbucks continue to be the best, like Scrim results continue to be the best predictor of results, what does that mean, right? Does that mean that the game has been solved? Does that mean that we just had such concentrated amount of talent that the teams that consistently perform the best and crush their practices are the best teams now because like they just concentrate on talent? I think there's an interesting conversation to be had of that because like, for example, if we go off Scrimbucks, London season 1 was about to fucking disband and then they won the league, you know? Like, so like, it's just the point being there is that like, I think there's an interesting conversation to be had about the narrative of like where we get with Scrimbucks, but I hate this being like, this sort of smugness that's inserted is like, well, if you've listened to the Scrimbucks, then you would have been a master analyst like myself. And I'm like, but you're not even analyzing anything. You're just seeing someone win the Scrim block. You know, it's like, oh, they did really well in Scrim, so they're gonna be the best. It's like, okay, well, like, let's just fucking, how about we just like, honestly, just have Chat GPT like be like an analyst bot, and they read the Scrim results, and then like everyone else just loses their jobs because like, what's the point, you know? But there is something interesting to be said about like, what does this mean? If Scrimbucks if the people that do the best in Scrims are consistently performing the best now, does this mean now because we have such a concentrated amount of talent because of the lack of resources that this is what we're going to expect going forward? There's an interesting conversation to be had there. But I just find it boring as shit. It's an entertainment product. It's an entertainment product.
I mean,
it's boring as fuck.
I think it's important here. I think, you know, maybe we're reading a bit too much into it. But
this is just me ranting at random Twitter.
But I think
it's not even like directly.
You know, if you want to be a market maker for the Scrimbucks exchange, like you're not going through these replays just like, well, I looked at Atlanta versus San Francisco Shock, and therefore I have rated San Francisco Shock a little bit higher than Atlanta because they beat them in 2 scrims. It's like, you know, I think when someone like Yiska does his Scrimbucks exchange, he's actually like an insider where he's talking to teams. He's getting the opinion of a lot of different people within the league and then putting those opinions together. And so I think it's a different approach. So, you know, we're joking that this is the Scrimbucks, you know, and we're seeing the VODs and everything. But I think Yiska approaches it a little bit different. And so I actually think it has some merit to it where he actually, it's more so based on like what the teams think and like his I guess, Avril's laughing because he's done tactical crouch with this guy.
I'm about to say something.
Okay.
I'm not laughing. I don't find it fun because it's boring. Okay, that's my number one complaint. It's boring.
It's working though. I can't be like, oh, Scrimbucks.
But it's boring. It's boring. We're an entertainment product. It's fucking boring.
My realization about all this Scrimbucks leaks and all this stuff is like, you know, the entire Scrimbucks stock exchange, all these leaks is basically like, this is the Robin Hood app of the Scrimbucks stock exchange. It's just available for everybody now. It used to be this elitist closed-off thing. You'd have your own little Scrimbucks stock exchange, all this hidden information. You had to be an insider to know. And now the whole public, you know, your everyman Overwatch fan now has access to Scrims. What's going on? The entire market is crashing.
We've decentralized
it's SVB again.
No, it's better than that. We've decentralized.
Okay.
Finally, Bitcoin's at the top. Bitcoin wishes it could do what the Scrimbucks have done. It wishes it could decentralize like Scrimbucks.
I literally, 50 minutes ago, someone in my Discord was like, I think now's a good time to buy Vegas stocks. And I'm like, dude, like people are buying puts, they're buying fucking calls on Vegas Eternal. It's just...
I think it's fun. I actually do agree with you there, Avril. I think that's a good point. I think the amount of Scrim information out there where it's become less like a shadowy cabal of Scrim results and like people can just kind of like look at it. That's a lot more fun. And it's content, you know?
Now everyone can be part of the Scrimbucks.
I agree. That is fun.
Fun for the whole family now.
Going back to one of your points, though, Avast, I do think it's interesting that like the talent in contenders and collegiate and this Pro-Am is going to be so juicy. So, I mean, this tweet that I showed you, just like, you know, again, it's one map, but like this tweet is just Maryville just like destroying the Glads on push. And so, you know, I haven't even watched the freaking replay, and it's one map. I haven't even seen how it went down. But just like silly stuff like this, where it's like,
it's a full cap.
collegiate and contenders teams are like legitimately on par with, you know, almost like the bottom half of the Overwatch League in the West. It's like absurd.
Glad's bottom half now. Heard it here first.
Yeah, there we go. Glad's bottom half.
Oh, well.
That was a Glad scrim code. So.
Oh my god.
You said bottom half of Owl. That was a Glad scrim code.
Holy shit.
Glad's officially bottom half.
I need to double check. Am I wrong? Is Glad's bottom half of the Western
That's what
region?
you said. That's what you said.
You laugh now.
Slipped that one
you
out.
laugh now. Okay. How many teams do I have? 13?
I'm holding back the tears behind the laughter.
12,
Is what
13.
I'm doing. It's the only way I can stop myself
Houston,
from crying.
Boston, Atlanta, Shock, Toronto. Yeah, then it gets a bit iffy. Okay, they're top half. Did
Maryville qualify for Prime, or did they even try? Are they
Pretty
part
sure
of it or not?
Maryville did.
You want to pivot to the Pro-Am stuff?
They're gonna be. Well, I'm just asking, like,
sure.
if this is a team that's like taking down Glads, are they gonna be in the Pro-Am or no?
We can pivot to the Pro-Am discussion because they actually all the teams are
yes,
finalized.
they did qualify. Yeah, I remember they did because they qualified because they have the villains on there. They have CJ. They have CJ and Vega, right? They have the villains.
And isn't CJ rumored for Valiant? I'm not pivoting it again, but I'm just saying like that goes.
You're jumping ahead, but yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we got Saints, Trick Room, Redbird, Timeless, Wisp, Twisted Minds, and Team Peps. Will be competing in the Pro-Am against some of these Overwatch League teams.
Yeah, which is fun.
Yeah,
Super fun.
yeah. We'll do next week. Next week, I think we'll do like a full kind of preview thing, and we'll talk about all the teams in depth. We didn't actually plan to talk about the Pro-Am teams because I wanted to do that next week, and we can discuss all the Pro-Am teams. We can even do a bracket if we want to, or I guess it's groups and then bracket, but still, we can do some predictions and stuff. So we have lots to talk about today. We have 3 team previews coming up today as well, but we'll do the Pro-Am stuff next week. How does that sound, guys? Sound good? I'm looking forward to it anyway. Yeah. Saints looking kind of nasty, and people are like hate loving Saints because of Vega and CJ. So that's pretty funny. That's a good story too. All right, where are we going next? Right.
Saints is Maryville. I just figured that out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Saints is Maryville. Yeah.
So
Saints is Maryville.
we kind of hinted already with the skins. Chengdu Hunters. What is going on, guys? People are like, oh, Chengdu Hunters are disbanded.
Should I start?
I legitimately thought that meant that like their owner company went like bankrupt or something. That's not the case at all. Like Huya is doing fine, but I think
I don't know if you could say they're doing fine.
Well, Huya got hammered. To be fair, they did get hammered.
They're not really doing fine, but they're.
All right, I'm pulling up the Yahoo finance page.
Okay, let's do that.
Well,
they're still alive.
The
like
underlying,
they're not bankrupt,
economic
right?
factors with the company, right? Look at SVB, for example, like we were saying before.
All right, here
Holy shit! Who bought? Oh my!
November was about 2. Now it's around 4. It's doubled. It's doubled since November, guys. It went up to 6.
What was it a year ago though?
5 years. Yikes.
Yeah. That 5-year trend is not looking good.
This is when Chengdu Hunters joined the Overwatch League. Well,
they're doing pretty bad.
That's one way to put it.
First of all, we don't have. Let's clear out the facts real quick. No one has real confirmation yet, at least publicly, until Sean or somebody comes out and says there's a public statement. But what we do know is the socials have been dead for a while. Apparently, that Chengdu Hunters jersey for 2023, that wasn't even from the org. That was from a designer who used to work for the team or something like that. The one that we added to our jersey reviews, right? Mm-hmm. So that isn't even official, apparently. There's been the craziest thing is, despite all the rumors and leaks around different rosters going, we've heard nothing about Chengdu, 0. Nothing at all. Yeah. We've heard at least something about basically every other team. That includes New York. That includes now even the Valiant.
For God's sake.
So still nothing about Chengdu. Jinmu he's declared publicly that he does not have a team. So at the very minimum, Chengdu could have just re-signed him. Like, I'm sure Jinmu would have re-signed for a minimum rather than being teamless. So it just seems like they are literally not going to be fielding a team this year, which I originally thought would have been impossible. It's like, no, they got to field a team. They're like legally required to. I don't even know how they'd be able to back out contractually and just like not doing anything? Like, are we really just going to function with only 19 teams?
Yeah, I mean, that's what
I don't even know
well.
if that's real. Can that even happen?
Then I was like, if Chengdu theoretically didn't give a fuck and didn't fulfill their obligations, would like Overwatch League pursue legal action? Like, what would they do? Like, what?
They'd be within their rights to
pursue legal action.
What do you do if Chengdu were just like, we're not playing, sorry? Like, what do you do?
Because I know,
I don't know.
I'm fairly certain a team, if you were to back out, one of the ways you could back out is to declare bankruptcy and be like, our company's kaput, we're done. But I don't think they've declared bankruptcy yet. It's just not looking good, but I don't think they've declared bankruptcy yet. So they clearly don't have money. But then you look at situations where other teams didn't have money and still just cobbled together something. I'm looking at the Valiant, obviously. And
well, to be fair, they just didn't pay their players. So, like, if you do that, it works. If they get a bunch of unpaid laborers, theoretically anything is possible.
Well,
I think that was more LGE.
Yeah, LGE
Lingun Esports fucked up somewhere. I think Immortal still put money out. In any case, even if we go along that, like this year, they're like Valiant are running a team. We don't know. Immortals are still in it. I don't know who's operating. We can get to the Valiant topic later, but maybe not even this week because we're not previewing them. My point is like Valiant are still, despite what would now be 3 years ago, they ditched NA to go to APAC. They come back to NA, they're still functional, they're still operating a team. Chengdu is just what it looks like. Again, no official confirmation. It looks like is they've just legitimately backed out. And this will be the first year, if that is actually what's happening, that we're going to only having 19 teams, which I didn't think was possible, but here we are.
God, I hope no one's done VO already. Fuck me. Can you imagine doing the VO? There are 20. Well, you're going to have to redo that line now. There are 19 teams in the Overwatch League.
Dude, what if Chengdu's disbands? I wonder where the money goes for the Chengdu skins if people bought them. Because technically, you're supposed to get a split for the org.
Into the Blizzard pot.
Divided by the other 19. Give it to the rest.
Yeah, it just becomes rev share.
Is it good faith? Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, because also I've been keeping track. There's this one account that posts all the Weibo posts of the Chinese players and what they're doing, and the Jinmu and them I've been seeing stuff from Jinmu and I think mostly a lot of Jinmu content because he streams a lot and translated content and he seems very unbothered, moisturized in his lane, honestly. But at the same time, it doesn't seem like he's doing shit. It seems like he's just hanging out streaming. So, and I would imagine if there was going to be viewers? I don't know what his
streaming a game that's not even available in his country anymore. I
don't know if he streams Overwatch particularly, but the thing is that he does Overwatch. How does he do it if it's not available?
Well, he's obviously playing on whatever the same VPNs that everyone else is playing on to play Overwatch on Korean servers. I mean, is what he's doing.
People are streaming gambling.
So he's just pretending. So he's no. But the difference is streaming, illegally on Twitch and the NA is a little bit different than streaming a game that doesn't.
I guess.
China, I don't know what the legalities are. I have no idea.
Yeah. But I mean, he could just be pretending he's I'm in Korea. I'm in the PC bog right now, guys. Don't you know?
I'm here. My ping is just because I don't know. It's a bug in the game. Don't worry about that. It's 70 ping, but I'm in Korea.
But you would think a Chengdu roster, if they were to rebuild at this point, would include Jinmu. Probably.
It would.
It probably.
Yeah, because there's no reason to not get him.
And you haven't heard shit from any of the other players.
But here's the other problem. There's a new team in I already forgot their name. And Contenders Pacific is back, and there's a couple of Chinese teams in there, and one of them is it's got a Predator and stuff. It's got Kaneki, a Predator. I think they're called, is it Varel? No, that's the wrong team. What are they called?
I know the team you're talking about, but I don't remember the name.
Rhodes. Exactly they're called Rhodes. They're called Rhodes. And this Rhodes team has a Predator, Pineapple, 800 Recall, Coldest, Kaneki. These guys could have all been on Chengdu. So Chengdu's not getting Jinmu. They're not getting any of those guys who are available. They're not getting anyone. All signs point to they're just not going to have a team. And there's also this again, I've noted where this rumor came from. Could just be source made it the fuck up. The other rumor is APAC's been delayed. It's I don't know how credible that is. But that's now just in the ether, and it's delayed because of Chengdu.
It's in the ether, but it it's not even worth talking about because we generally have no idea. But
Bren's not here to stop me, so I'm gonna. No, I'm just
maybe Chengdu Hunters just here's our roster, guys, to announce it tomorrow. I have no fucking idea. We're just talking about rumors.
It's very possible considering the program, which is essentially the unofficial / official start of the league, starts in 2 weeks.
a week and 4 days
around
or
there.
something.
So like you know, you would hope there'd be some news soon.
Yeah.
What's the deadline? What's the deadline again?
Like Apex.
The roster deadline was yesterday. Roster deadline was yesterday.
So they would have already had to have a team now by now.
But also all the teams that are participating still haven't announced their fucking rosters. Obviously that doesn't mean they don't have players. They just haven't announced.
New York
them.
and Valiant.
So
yeah.
New York Valiant,
I mean,
I think there's a ton of teams that only have like 5 players still that they haven't officially announced a 6th yet. So like, I mean, the deadline isn't necessarily you have to announce that day. You just have to have the players. So like, who knows? Like theoretically, there could be some
Valiant theoretically doesn't even have to announce it. They can just go play. Like social media obligation is not in the contract. So like,
do they have a social media manager? No idea.
Don't know. From the rumors I've heard on that front, I don't think they do.
So here's a kind of like a sad silver lining, but the only silver lining from this Chengdu Hunter situation is that a more deserving contenders team who gives a shit could just replace them this year. And this is the only year where that's possible. If this happened last year, it would have been big fucking trouble.
Yeah.
But this year, because
that's part of
this year, because we are including contenders and specifically contenders Korea is fucking strong. Like, at least we're going to have a reasonable replacement for Chengdu. So like, you know, all hope is not lost, but still it's really bad if Chengdu don't have a team this year and they've bowed out.
I just hope it doesn't set a precedent.
Yeah, because Immortals is like, why the fuck are we still here? Can we bounce as well? We've been trying to leave for 3 years.
I mean, at this point, they're essentially like, there comes a point where like, why challenge to even have a legal battle when like you're going to spend essentially negligible money in the grand scheme of things to not have a legal battle? Like putting on like a full minimum roster where you don't have like a coach and you might not have any staff is essentially the equivalent of like, we're just going to pay this like, who knows, like $300,000 or something or less a year to probably less. Cause let's see. No, actually about 300, like 300K. If you had like 6 players on 50K, you could just pay 300K a year to not have a legal battle with Activision Blizzard, you know, which is like, you know, you could argue, and maybe you have an asset that you could theoretically flip still, which is like chump change in the grand scheme of like organizations that generally have multiple tens of millions they're working with typically.
I think if Overwatch League goes over, if they go after Huya's just like, we're broke. Sorry, can't pay you.
Yeah. Sorry, well, I mean, also, what are they gonna like? What are they gonna do? Like, they can't. Like, obviously, you can still international disputes can be settled, but at the end of the day, like, it's still up to like the government at the national level to be like, you will give them the money, you know? Because like, there's nothing that you can realistically do to defeat the sovereignty of a nation as a business. Unless you have like a bunch of private mercenaries to go raid the CEO's HQ or something. So
they could have that.
It's possible. It's possible they could have the
invade Chinese soil
squad. Yeah, they could do that. Well,
it'd be some mercenaries
independent. But I don't know. I don't think there's anything that we have any distinct concrete things. But I mean, theoretically, that a Preta team could be good enough to just replace Chengdu. They could be new Chengdu Pro-Am. No?
Sorry, who?
The team with the Preta.
They would have to make it through all the qualifications to get in, and
that's a good team though. The roster's good.
It could be. I mean, because they're playing in the new APAC region, which they'll probably be one of the better teams in there. I suppose that they'll get through that. But once you reach the quote unquote more open part of the qualifier, where you have to fight up against the contenders teams, it was meant to be. I should know the rules better than I currently do. I'm trying to remember how many teams from contenders actually make it into the Overwatch League in the regular season portion. It's not a lot, but it'd be one more now than it was before. And you're assuming O2 Blast is definitely going to get one of those. So I mean, shit's really competitive. It's very competitive for those teams once you're up against the contenders career guys.
Yeah, not good stuff, huh? But the Chengdu Raw jersey though was fire. The one that was revealed, I thought it was like one of the best.
Exist. Yeah.
The jersey we'll never get was actually fire, but unfortunately we'll never see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm trying to find this contenders info too, but I'm really struggling.
Yeah, I'm just going to the blog post now. I'll just quickly read over it. I'm sure it'll say in there somewhere.
Yeah. That will be fire though. To find out when those teams. Let's pivot to the LA Valiant, because I mean, it's not announced, but let's just talk about it, because I don't even know if it'll be announced. You know, usually we wait for teams to announce their actual rosters, but I don't even know if they'll be announced. So it seems pretty confirmed that the Valiant roster is going to be
Can you read it out? Because this. Okay, yeah.
Krawi, N2S, Seeker, Liar, CJ, and Paintbrush, who will be a 6th sub and coach. So they're doing a player coach thing to round out their 6 roster spots for the LA Valiant. So
Outlaws then.
Sorry.
Which, by the way, is not the first time the LA Valiant have done this. No, MVM was technically one of those before. He didn't play, but he took the player spot as a coach. It's been done before by the Valiant.
Yeah.
Hadn't MVM only played like in the last competitive game of Overwatch he played was like 2016 or something ridiculous?
Something like that. Something crazy like that, yeah.
Yeah, something ridiculous like that.
This is the season that Jake's been waiting for. This is his opportunity to be a 6th man that's capable of flexing and coaching at the same time.
No, because Jake doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to do that shit anymore. Jake, this is the realest possibility for someone. Like, if you're a 6th man, you could realistically sub in, like this year. But like Jake, he's done with that shit. He's out of that life. He
did that in 2021. To be fair, and then last year was the year that he was like, okay, I'm a coach now, proper coach now.
Yeah.
Roster is.
It's interesting.
I've also heard that theoretically Paintbrush is like working another job while being the 6th man for this team. So like he's
also the team cook. What is he? He's doing Heidi's job?
No. He's like working as a coder. Like he has a CS job. So he's working like a 9 to 5. And then he's showing up as the coach for this team. So that implies to me either they're like not scrimming or they're like only doing it at like 2 blocks a night type of thing, or Paintbrush is actually on the Sigma male grind set, where like he's gonna be like working 9 to 5 and then he'll just like scrim. He'll like sit in the scrims for like 2 or 3 blocks every night or something.
To be fair, we always say like make sure you have a backup. Like, you know, your playing career isn't gonna last forever, etc.
Is he still streaming?
CS career, baby.
I don't know how he possibly has the time to stream.
I was gonna say, I was like, what's this guy doing? He's coaching, playing, streaming, and coding.
He's like the most secure Overwatch League player right now. This guy's working 2 jobs. He's got his real job in the back pocket. Like, honestly, everyone should be. That's the power of remote work. Everyone should be working 2 jobs.
That's the grind set. That's the Sigma male grind set.
True.
I think it's sole motivator. The sole motivator of Paintbrush coming back to be 6th man and a coach while working a real-time job is to get revenge on Decay after the 2020 jail debacle where Decay held him hostage on the Dallas Fuel.
Fuck it. Just
get him on
every single role.
Also, I do not know, once again, this is a rumor, so literally no idea if that's correct, but it is funny as fuck and 100% fits with the roster. So I'm sure Paintbrush will tell us himself because he's been on Reddit vehemently arguing with people about stuff. He's just been like trolling on Reddit about. Paintbrush has been on the Reddit threads. Like, and like knowing Paintbrush, like he's 100% on this team. He's trolling like fucking crazy. He's definitely doing it. And it's funny as fuck.
I'll let you know when we all sign. I love how it's like, yeah, we might be the Valiant, but we need to sign contracts first.
I don't think they will have. I don't know if they will have a social media person. Honestly, they might just go into the league and like just play because like they have 6 players. One of them's the player coach, and the coach is working another job supposedly. So,
oh my god!
And like this roster also is like, you know, another not very good roster. Like it's not like the roster is like the worst thing ever constructed.
I want to know like who put this together.
I don't know. I don't know who's putting. I don't know who the GM. Like unless they got Paintbrush to be the GM coach.
Is it like fucking VCT franchising? You submit like a PowerPoint, just like this is our roster. This is what we want to do. Please sign us.
No, but they still put the roster for those are still created by an actual GM, right? So I don't know if there is a GM at Valiant or if like Paintbrush built the roster or if it's like a random organizational employee that's just like found the agents, you know? I have no clue.
By the way, there's a problem here as well because CJ's on Saints for Pro-Am, but don't the Valiant also have to play in the Pro-Am?
That would be the ultimate. I'm leaving Saints now when we qualify.
But the thing is, that would be he is officially received. We've had the streamer awards. It's now time for the Overwatch League awards, and he's receiving the Homie Hopper Award. CJ, you're getting the first Homie Hopper Award for hopping multiple teams. And
is he allowed to be on? Like,
I just can't. I mean, that is actually I hadn't even thought about that. That's kind of fucked up. That's kind of insane. But you know what? Who even cares?
He hasn't signed yet. You know, we'll see if the contract comes in.
Do we really care anymore, man? Like, do we really care? Like, after this point, I'm like,
I'm just saying, there's an inconsistency here where you got players on this Valiant team who are also on other teams of the Pro-Am. Like, how does that work?
I'm excited to
remember. Entertainment product. Don't fucking care what the entertainment is, as long as it's funny. Then hey.
Well, there is definitely a line a bit. This would be my line. Typically, like leaking scrim codes voluntarily, I'd be like, okay, that's fun. Like teams can do whatever. Like they were too stuck about it. Blatant conflict of interest of two player competing on two different teams. That is kind of fucking absurd. That's, you know, that's a little bit up there. I would still put it behind Valiant not paying people. No, obviously, okay, not Valiant, but LGE not paying people. Still put it behind that, but I would also say that's pretty fucking bad. So
yeah, where is this on the Overwatch League iceberg? How deep are we going with this one?
That's pretty, honestly, it's up there. I'd say it's up there. We have never had a situation where a player has competed on two different teams theoretically in the same tournament against each other.
Yeah, I mean that's why Paintbrush is signed, right? So that Paintbrush can fill the go spot when he's fucking playing on the other team, and then
at the Overwatch League level at least.
Yeah, and then we get some throw-in happening. Oh, whoa! I used a beat by. Whoa, that sucks. Actually, no, that's crazy when they play against each other. You know.
Well, the thing is, how would they even compete without CJ? Like, would Paintbrush sub in and play?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He would sub in for CJ. CJ would go and play on the other team, and then hey, like, whoa, a little bit of collusion there, maybe a little collusion.
Yeah. I would say this is like a mid-tier iceberg potentially, depending on how it's resolved. There's definitely far worse tips of the iceberg than that, but that's a mid-tier. This is like the stabilizer of the iceberg.
I thought this Pro-Am thing would be like a fun little preseason thing, and it'd be like, oh, you know, we got contenders teams playing the Overwatch League teams. It seems like the way it's going with like scrim codes and like contenders players like taking it personally and like loving beating Overwatch League teams, and like the Malthel like hate campaign that's going on. It's just like this might turn into a legitimately like fucking bloodbath next weekend with like the Pro-Am.
Which is so fucking fun. It's fun as
incredible.
Fuck. It's awesome. It's good content.
I mean, if like Gladiators like bomb out pretty early out of groups or something, and meanwhile you got like Redbird and Saints like going deep, and like Valiants all over the place, Vegas all over the place. This might, oh my god, this might just like
spicy as hell
kill the scene. Or not the scene, but the league. Just like, sorry, we don't care about
no, we're gonna get more viewership than ever because everyone's gonna be interested.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean kill the like viewership. I meant like the validity of like Overwatch League teams, because the contenders teams.
Bro,
just
that's
go,
been
like,
dead for a while.
All right,
like, come on. Like, come on.
Okay, bro.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Fuck, this is such a silly fucking episode. You guys want to talk about Fleta tank and Diem support?
Let's go! Dude, I lost my goddamn mind. I woke up to this and I was like, oh, Fleta, he's a tank player. And then I was like, oh, Diem support. But the worst part with this, fucking my man Gangnam Jin is back on Lucio. A goddamn, he has to be back on Lucio for this team. He's fucking, I can't believe this, man. They're murdering my guy out there.
All right,
they're murdering him.
Start with Fleta. Here's the text for you. He was the one to bring the Dragons back from the cliff edge. He is the player we are too familiar with. He is our Mr. Key. In season 2023, Fleta will keep wearing the red jersey, be the toughest Dragon Blade, and break through with the Dragons. Let's welcome Fleta.
With the Dragon Blade? You're not pulling Dragon Blade as a fucking tank player? What are they saying?
It's the toughest
what
Dragon Blade.
Smoking? What blood smoking?
Primal Blade.
Come on, bro.
The Primal Blade.
Primal Blade.
I mean, this is off the goop. So they announced this, and they did like 5 announcements in like 10 minutes. Like Washington Justice would have lost their mind if they saw this.
You reckon they were trying to hide the Diem one? They were just trying to hide it in amongst the rest. They were like, oh, look at all these other players. Like
I didn't see it initially. They did a good job. I did not see the Diem announcement initially, so I missed it.
Yeah, it's got Viper and Hisu as your damage. Got Gangnam Jin, as you said. Diem.
They slipped that one in there.
Diem.
Hey, what's up?
The last announcement as your support. Yesterday, once more, he created a legend named One Shoot, One Kill. Nowadays, he's ready to win the battle again. Let's welcome back our old friend Diem. All the fights that we've been through still feel like yesterday. After a short-term separation, he's going to wear the same jersey as before. Here we go. Diem support.
Separation.
The English translation of this sounds like a couple that had time apart and then like came back together after a short-term separation. They've reconciled and they've come back together.
You know, the best part about this Diem announcement is that I saw some legitimate comments where people thought that he would be the Lucio player and Gangnam Jin was on flex support.
No, fuck no.
Imagine that.
Be on Lucio again.
That would be the only thing where it's like Diem just goes from Widowmaker to Lucio. Like that's his career trajectory. Doesn't even make sense.
It's still
like,
bad. There's neither option is good. It's so fucking maddening. Because honestly, Fleta going to tank, I'm not gonna say it's a good move, but like it could work. could theoretically work.
Yeah.
But like Ghanam being on fucking Lucio again and Diem's goddamn flex support. Like,
what is Moon cooking?
Christ.
Yeah,
dude, and this also means that Fate is probably, unless Fate is gonna be, because how many players do they have signed at this point for Shanghai? Is that 5?
Oh,
so Fate could theoretically still be on this team to round out. But
so here's the craziest, the rumored leak game so far this offseason. It used to be, you know, again, in the Scrimbuck Stock Exchange, to use that analogy again. Now it's just open to the public. Everyone's a leaker now. I'm seeing like these accounts I've never heard of before start leaking stuff, and some of them are accurate. I saw on Reddit randomly, like normally from some people, there's no way I would trust this. It's just some rando on Reddit. Who the hell believes this? It's not from any of the credible people, but it legitimately leaked this entire roster plus Fate. They said Fate was on here as well, and they even leaked the roles. This person on CompOW even said, yeah, Fleta, by the way, is on tank and Diem's on support. They leaked that accurately as well. I don't know how the fuck they knew that. But they also they included Fate in the leak, and Fate didn't get announced, but he was part of the leak. So
there is a mole in the Discord, in like some Discord somewhere. There is a mole that is just leaking all of these things.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get the roles that way. Like if you were the Discord, you wouldn't get the roles. It's so weird.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe like
this is someone who saw the scrims. Someone who had access to be able to see a scrim.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Leaked scrims.
And but if anyone says, "I was it a leaked scrim code?" No, Shanghai have had no scrim codes leaked.
I can't wait to see those, bro. I can't wait to see those.
It'd be funny.
I'd love to see the Shanghai Dragons versus Korean Typhoon scrim codes.
Hey, what if they come back and Diem's just an absolute freak of nature?
When was the last time Diem played? I don't even know.
Good question. Don't know.
Was his last
he barely played this last season, didn't he? He was like kind of washed.
He's really hasn't gotten much extensive playtime because they were trying to figure out the situation between him and Lip, but the thing is Lip is just better.
Benched him so fast.
Lip is
so better. Much better.
It's not that Diem was necessarily. I don't think Diem was even that bad when he got playtime. It's just Lip is just functionally so much better.
Why do I recall like Diem not being that good towards the end of his stint?
Well, part of it was at the time. I think if I remember properly, their comps that they were playing and the comps they were playing into. It wasn't working super well with like how they were prioritizing Diem, like how they were keeping him pocketed and like alive as like the hard to hit scan. And there was like there was a lot of like moving pieces. I can't remember if they were like rotating.
You talking about 2020?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when Diem was playing before he got benched by Lip. Like they were changing up their compositions and like they had like a rotating.
I can speak to this.
I think. Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
So 2020. So 2020 was when they they were really good in 2020. They stood fearless in 2020, and Lip was on the team. I can't remember what the situation between Lip and Diem was in 2020, but early in 2021, this was before Lip just took over. Diem was still being subbed in. I specifically remember stage 1, Diem was subbed in for a little bit of Ash, and people forget that this other player was on the bench as well. But you had a Diem and Erster on your fucking bench behind Fleta and Lip on, you know, one of their best years after Fleta just won MVP in 2020. So unbelievably stacked DPS lineup. Erster retired. He quit. He's like, well, I'm not going to get playtime. Fair enough. Fleta was pretty dominant in 2021. And then somewhere halfway in stage 1, they just stopped giving Diem playtime because they realized Lip was better. And this was before the Sombra stuff as well. Once the Sombra stuff started coming in, it was done. Lip was never going to get benched again. So the only time I saw Lip in Overwatch League in 2021 was to play a bit of Ash. That was it.
Yeah. But I still remember from that time. I don't think I remember there was like a lot of hot mess for like how Diem was being played and like how they were playing with him. Where I don't remember Diem ever like he didn't necessarily look like washed. It's just Lip is just a far superior player. They were playing way better with him.
I'll ask you this, Avro. I'll ask you this. Shanghai Dragons, they play a best of 7, okay? This you know, just a theoretical experiment. They play a best of 7 against the new O2 Blast roster. How many maps did they win in a best of 7?
This team versus O2 Blast.
And this is a new O2 Blast team that has Attack, Marvel, Probe, Knife, Top Dragon, Proud, Opener, and Irony. And this is San Francisco Shock's Academy that now has Top Dragon as well.
So the thing is, and by the way, I really wanted Top Dragon to go to Shanghai, just for the Dragon.
You might be adding to Shock, bro.
Okay, Shock have Hisu and Proper play Flex DPS. I don't think they need 3 Flex DPSs personally, but yeah, to answer the question, just for the fact that no one's off-rolling on O2 and their established talent, O2 probably take this, I'm going to say like 4-1, maybe even, I don't want to say 4-0 because it's disrespectful, but like, bro, Gangnam Jin Lucio, Diem on support, I have no idea what he looks like in Flex support. Guy hasn't played the game for I don't know how long now, and he's off-rolling. Fleta on tank, like, bro, Hisu and Viper are going to have to be, these two are going to be like Atlas carrying the fucking earth. It's got to be heavy.
Okay.
So based on the fact you got a bunch of off rolls and people coming back out of retirement, I think O2 win 4-1.
All right. Shanghai Dragons against the rumored Valiant roster.
Oh,
you know what? I still think Well,
Fleta tank and
Dude,
Gangnam
no
Diem support versus
no
Valiant.
I roll the dice. I roll the dice.
Roll the
I go
bones.
full.
Really?
I
Roll
go
the
full
bones.
Gamba. I take Shanghai. I go full Gamba and take Shanghai. I'm not super familiar with some of the players on that Valiant team. Maybe I just roll the dice. I think the Shanghai roster could be tragic, but like, okay, what if Fleta pulls off a Dante? That's some crazy hopium, but like that's the only out they got.
He is an unbelievable like mechanics god, Fleta. Like, I wouldn't expect him to underperform on a tank role. I think you're fucking high as shit if you think he underperforms on a tank. Honestly.
I mean, swapping over is still a challenge. You're going up against people who played tank their entire careers, so that's going to be a difficulty.
Tank is not the same as it was in Overwatch 1. I would have way more reservations if that happened in Overwatch 1. A DPS player swap into a tank role.
Well, it's
Like in
easier and
Overwatch
harder.
2, dude,
It's just
big
you got to do
DPS,
everything.
bro. Doomfist, Tracer. No, sorry. Doomfist, Big Tracer, fucking Diva. Like anything like that, dude. I would have.
If they don't have a main tank player, though, I feel like that's a
Doom's
problem.
fine. Here's the problem.
Sure.
Here's the other problem.
Tank, I could see him struggling, but like, dude, any kind of off tank, that guy, that guy's ripping face. Like,
Look, if it's Doom and Zarya, I'm sure he'll be fine. He can just do a Dante cosplay, chilling, maybe even Orisa. Probably not that difficult. But once we start talking about stuff like Ball, maybe. Once we start talking about stuff like Ball and Sigma, those often are the two tanks that people trip up on. Like if you're even now for career main tank plays, they struggle to pick up Sigma. For career off tank plays, they struggle to pick up Ball. Those are always the two heroes that will give you the two biggest headaches. And even for Winston, like you can practice, but when you look at the true top Winston players with their primal mechanics and just their understanding of Winston, yeah, he's like fundamentally not a super hard hero to play, but to reach the skill ceiling required for Owl, it's a different story.
We're going to move on. I'm going to quickly, just 1 minute though. If there's one thing I learned from the scrim codes that leaked this past week, just because it's kind of on topic, I think Punk's Winston was pretty good in their scrim against Vegas Eternal. I genuinely enjoyed it. And I just wanted to say that because I think that sometimes people still think that Punk is like an off-tank player. All he can do is play off-tanks and, he plays the Diva and all that shit. I genuinely think his Winston was really good. So I just wanted to get that out there.
Why you think that?
The Punk
why are we discussing during the Shanghai topic?
No, we're moving on. We're not talking about Shanghai anymore.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to add that in there. I think Punk's Winston was really good. And now I consider him not like a jolt, because I think we need to come up with a different term. Like he's just a tank player. He's not an off-tank player for me anymore. Yes. Punk is just a tank player. He can play most tanks. And I generally think I trust him to like play most tanks. So I wanted to get that out.
I trust him because he continuously wins the tank battle royale of Boston, where they keep trying to bench him for other players, and he keeps prevailing. So guy's got something going for him. That's why you're like, he's just some off tank player, because like he's had to run through like 5 different players to get a spot.
Dude, yeah.
I feel like when we really want to close out this topic, Johnny, we should talk about how you've been embracing your villain arc. And I kind of
villain arc.
Yeah. What about and when Dante quote retweeted the Fleta tank and he's like, I'm inspired more people, and you were just like, Dante, you're not that good. And I was like, damn. I was like, whoa, Johnny, you've been really popping off. You've been really. I kind of respect. That's what we need. We need people to be like, yeah, let's, because that's fun banter. No one's like mad. Everyone's. Well, I hope you weren't mad, but like everyone's just like, just making fun of each other. That's the type of shit that I like. I love it when I would do that to.
We were supposed to go out to dinner because he's here in LA, and it hasn't happened yet. I don't know if that tweet changed anything. So
That tweet is soured the experience.
we might be on bad terms now. But
well, he's adult pilled now. He does stuff in the air fryer. He doesn't go out to dinner.
Oh,
he just
dude, air frying is so good, man. I followed up on that too.
He's extremely adult pilled.
Air frying is amazing. Yeah, what an off season does to a man. It's crazy. I can't wait to hear Connor's opinions on this next topic we got here. It's another rumor. Sorry guys, we're just dealing rumors now. We've just completely pivoted as podcast here.
Yeah.
Gargoyle to the Houston Outlaws.
Oh yeah.
Gargoyle, who has been missing since 2021, where the Florida Mayhem had a tragic season with Slime as their main support, with OG as their main tank.
2021 too. Holy shit.
That was not a great season for the Florida Mayhem, and Gargoyle has been missing since then. But now, rumored to be back with the Houston Outlaws. Wow.
I'm excited.
I am excited. I'm excited too, Connor.
I sold off some of my Gargoyle stocks a little bit. I sold off a little bit of my Gargoyle stocks a bit because I think his 2021 season was because that was the season where he played with OG, right? It was, 2021. Yeah. That was not the best season. Oh, I see you, Cat. That was not the best season for him. I don't think that it was all his fault either. That Mayhem roster
it was not his fault.
Was insanely dysfunctional. OG had like a really bad year.
He left the team.
Yeah. I like it was like
the
it's tough
vacation.
to perform.
Checkmate tank.
Yeah, it was tough to perform as a tank duo in that situation. So I think Gargoyle was insanely underrated at the end of 2020, and then going into 2021, he had a really bad year. So, and I still think he's good, but I don't know if I'm gonna keep his like. He still has to go back to like his 2020 stock levels, essentially, for me to be like on the same exact hype train.
2020 was pretty sick. Like,
but I do think he's good.
So good.
I think people are going to be like,
but is he the best option? Was he really the best option?
When there's like 2U available, probably not. But like at the same time, I mean, they got to be
Gargoyle's been retired for what? Like the thing is like, oh yeah, back in the Stone Age, it's like, bro, there are people who played like last season. I mean, Gargoyle this is like that Diem signing in a way. Okay, he's not off rolling, but he's been gone for a while. How? I don't know, man. This is almost like when you hear about Sashin signing out for LA Valiant last year, but at least we got some. You could see that Sashin was hard grinding ranked. He was like at least getting some good.
Or Diem signing as flex support.
Yeah, I brought that up, but that's more like he's off rolling, so it feels a little bit more crazy. But whenever a player comes out of retirement after a while, it's like, man, was this guy really the best choice? Because Houston's not a cheap team. They're not exactly rolling on a budget this year. They're one of the heavy spenders going into this year, clearly. So you got to figure they had the availability, they had the ability to get somebody of talent. So you have to imagine that based on that, they could have really gotten any off tank they wanted. So was this their legitimate best option? I really do wonder.
To be fair, do we know the status of Gargoyle's military service? Has he completed it? Is he yet to complete?
We need like a military service tracker website.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, honestly.
It would be helpful.
But if he's taking this time off, maybe he has completed his military service already.
No, doesn't that take like 3 years?
I thought it's like at least 2. I thought it was at least 2.
It takes ages, doesn't it?
Okay, we're all fucking wrong.
We said 3 different dates. So we just
but we know it's between 2 to 4. It's definitely more than 1, but I don't think it's more than 3. I think it's greater than 1, less than 3.
I'm pretty sure it's 4 months.
I'm almost certain it's 2 years.
Let me Google it. But like the other point I had was
18 months. People are saying.
Yeah, I fucking knew it. 18 months to 21 months.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You just
I said 18 months.
Okay.
Scroll the VOD. Scroll the VOD. I said 18 months. These losers fucking said 3 years and 2 years and shit.
2 years is way closer to 18 months than 3 years.
Well, yeah, obviously, but yeah, I was still more nail on the head there with the 18 months. Just saying, it's on the fucking on the Google. And my other point is, I definitely understand what you're saying, Avra, with him like being away from the game and shit. But how do you know he's not been grinding ranked? Like a lot of the Korean players don't stream, so like I would say it's a little bit hard to say if he. I think it's a bit disingenuous saying like he's not grinding because he doesn't stream.
I'm not saying he's not grinding. I'm just saying we don't know if he is. At least we knew Sashin was grinding because he was posting shit on his Twitter.
Right. I
feel the same about Sugar Free as well, returning to the league.
But, what, me? Sugar Free?
No, but either of you. Like, because Sugar Free hasn't been playing Overwatch either, really. He hasn't really been playing Overwatch for.
Was he
been competing in other games? Like I'd say that's more of a safe.
He was playing
right?
Valorant. He wasn't. I mean, never made it to like a super top level, but he was like around that challengers level. You know,
he was actively competing in something.
Yeah.
And I'll give him the Patapan pass minimum. I'll give him that pass.
Definitely different from retired.
If you guys,
I don't know. The Patapan pass is a little different. That guy kind of was cracked out. You know.
That's true. Patty was a top player. It's different.
Patty literally competed at international events and like had high placements.
Fair enough.
But
I still have a lot of stock in Garg. I'm gonna be real. Like I still think he's got a lot to give. He's got a lot to give. Mr. Gargoyle.
He better have a good Sigma to give.
Back in the league. Honestly, he was one of my favorite players in 2020. I think this could blow up my fucking face. Still think he's got a lot to give there. I think with Fearless in the main tank and then Gargoyle as well, his D.Va is pretty good. His Sigma was very good with the prevalence of Sigma. I'm not sure about the prevalence of Sigma. We're still probably going to see like a lot of Sig on the older circuit, but probably not anywhere else just because of how the pick is. But yeah, I've got a lot of stock.
One patch changes it. One patch.
He had a good hog too. He also had a good hog.
Good hog.
I love Gargoyle.
Yeah, his hog wasn't bad. Yeah, like so.
Maybe
like,
it comes
I think
back.
He has some good hero rotation. I agree with you. I think Gargoyle was good in 2020. It's just 2021.
Here's my take. Some people have reacted to this and been like, "Oh, Gargoyle's, he was so bad in 2021. Like Gargoyle was just on his way out. He was bad. The stats were bad.
Sucked.
It was bad. So I posted the 2020 stats on my Twitter, and I was like, "Here's Gargoyle's stats in 2020." And it was like top 5 in pretty much everything as it related to D.Va, as it related to Sigma. And I like that. I'm an optimist, okay? I'm an optimist. And I was like, all right, this guy has proven that in a good setting, on a good team, he can play these roles in a really good way. And I understand that was 2.5, 3 years ago at this point. I understand that. But he proved that year that when he's in the right situation, he knows how to play those heroes in a really good setting. I know we're 5 versus 5 now, but holy shit. I mean, there's so many players coming back playing 5 versus 5. Like, I don't really think it matters. So if you are one of those people who also played the fucking Yaki drum and it's like, oh, Yaki in a great team, Yaki in a good team, he's going to pop off. Yaki's been waiting for a good team for so long. Yaki's going to be so good in a great team. I will apply the same thing to Gargoyle and be like, you can't diss on Gargoyle and be like, oh, Gargoyle is shit because he's struggling in 2021, and also be like, oh, Yaki was on a shit team in 2021. So, Yaki will do great on a great team, but Gargoyle won't because he was, shit in 2021.
Well, I think it's more so the gap.
Gargoyle
the gap for
fucking
Gargoyle.
Checkmate Reinhardt. Like, come on. Like,
but it's more so the gap year, I think, is the bigger thing for Gargoyle. It's the gap year. It's not even necessarily solely his performance in 2021. It's just the gap
over
year,
it.
Right?
Birdring also had a gap year. No one bats an eye. No one gives a fuck.
I mean, people do bat an eye. People have said like, well, Birdring had a gap year, So like, people have said that.
You know what would really complete this offseason in terms of players returning and signings? Because Void is just magically unretired. He said he retired. He's back on Seoul. We'll talk about Seoul in a second. What would magically just make this even better is if Kareev unretires for the 3rd time. It just comes back again.
He's still competing. He's like, I can't remember where exactly he is, but he's definitely still competing. Also, I think it's disingenuous with Birdring the conversation too, because Birdring won the Overwatch League. Birdring also had insane years. Well, the point being is like Birdring has like a much more stacked resume.
He also won a stage before he retired.
Yeah, like Gargoyle, Birdring has had recent success, won the Overwatch League, had insane, had very good pre-Overwatch League success. Like he is a very storied player comparatively.
Fuck my take. Don't ruin
I'm
this
just
one for
disassemble
me,
it right here. I'm just disassemble it right here. Yeah, Yaki, I'll give you a pass for, but I think he never took a gap year. But like Gargoyle, that's
all right.
We'll see. But I think he's good though. I still think people are way overreacting to this. Like, I understand like 2U probably would have been potentially a better pick. Like in particular.
2U's playing well. Yeah, I think
Gargoyle. I think Gargoyle actually has a lot of potential. And a team where you can't play fucking tank duo when your duo is boomed out of control. When your duo is literally unbelievably boomed. So and also your general team was like so unbelievably shit for no reason. That Mayhem 2021 team should not have been that shit. It just really shouldn't have. Even with a boom main tank, it just should not have been that bad. It was crazy.
Bad. That was so bad. Also, before we move on, like I feel so much better about myself. Like my imposter syndrome is gone after reading a Twitch chat. Someone who said that 2 years is as close to 18 months as 3 years, and it just made me so happy because I realized that.
What are you talking about? How is that mathematically not correct? It's just wrong. It's just stupid.
And I was like, wow, I could say whatever I want and it won't be as stupid as what that person said.
Oh my god. It's just crazy.
I was just, I felt good. Sorry to that person. I purposely waited to say that because I didn't want to call them out in chat, so no one will know who they were.
Dude's just smoking random viewers now. Like,
that's what we need to be doing.
Johnny villain arc. He's leaning.
Johnny's on his villain arc, man. He's on it.
Dude, I just don't give a fuck anymore. Like, really. Like, people have gotten away with dumb fucking shit for way too long. I don't know. Including me. I say some dumb shit at times, and I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not stupid.
Don't stop though. Don't stop.
No, I'm not gonna stop.
Dumb shit makes the world go wrong.
It's fun. And that's the main point. It's fun, okay? It's just banter. Anyway, let's get into the team previews for people are still doing math in YouTube chat. Let's get into the team previews for today. I believe there was something we missed when it comes to news, but I can't remember. We're not talking about New York Excelsior. There was something we missed, but if I recall, maybe I'll do like a callback. Maybe viewers will remind me. Today, we're talking about the two Seoul teams, Seoul Infernal, Seoul Dynasty, and the Hangzhou Spark. The Boston coach. Yeah, that's right. Boston picked up a new staff member, and there seems to be some big drama about that because apparently, like, used to be on LW Blue, and Luna had like a big dispute. You remember Luna, the flex support?
Yes.
Luna would be like, oh, this staff member screwed me over when it came to like trying to find a team. Say Bjolby apparently in some post-match interview had some comments about this particular staff member being quite bad behind the scenes. I don't know anything about it. It's just rumors. I can't confirm anything in this regard. There hasn't been any official reporting, I believe, besides the Luna thing. So I'm treading carefully. I hope that Boston Uprising did their due diligence when it comes to this staff member and how, you know, he's been involved with teams before and how he's considered. But it doesn't seem good. So we'll see if what is his name? Like a Jid something?
Jid Set or something like that?
Yeah, Jid Set. So,
but are they? So, and remind me because I was looking at. So, are they? They're going to be a head coach or an assistant?
Assistant coach,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, assistant coach. So, again, I'm trying to be very careful around the topic because I don't know this information, but there seems to be a lot of like, people throwing shit around this specific hire because of previous experience.
Yeah, because they have dongs.
With
right.
LW
you know what? I think this is the perfect catalyst to complete the season of memes with Striker retiring, then unretiring, going to the Shock again.
Yeah, it could. But the thing is, Jitset's not. Who was the big thing that like the big rumor? Because also, I'm surprised even fucking. This is when you know the internet does not forget. This shit was 3. It was 4 fucking years ago in Korean Contenders. Was the drama with this guy 4 years ago in Korean Contenders? People do not fucking forget. They do not. If they're in a niche internet subgroup of esports, they do not forget about like the shit that's went down. Like, but he supposedly, I think the biggest drama was that he essentially withheld contract and pay from the players under him.
I read that Korean article, but the person who retweeted it on my feed removed the retweet, and I'm like, okay, I don't know why they did that. So I don't.
Apparently, he locked the contracts away. Like, he took the contracts after the players signed them away from them, from what I saw in the translation to the Korean article.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't, like, enact any of the clauses, and they couldn't, like, fight it back because they don't have the contract. Which is strange, because there's normally 2 copies of a contract. So, like, yeah, that kind of sucked. He, like, took the player's version of the contract away by the
yeah, pretty much that, because it was about they took the contract away for safekeeping.
Yes.
And then because of that, since they never had a copy of the original contract, they couldn't press legal charges for the fact that they essentially Jitset and LW Blue was accused of not splitting prize winnings with the players. They just kept everything to themselves. And additionally, like, because of that, he supposedly in a retaliatory fashion benched Luna and put Pine on flex support. Was like, that's like the whole drama with it, was like, so essentially he took all their prize money, kept their contract with them so they couldn't see or press legal charges, because I guess for some reason they were still only using parchment and paper and sheepskin scrolls, so like no one had a digital copy of the contract in any capacity. There was nothing they could print out. They were still fucking using cuneiform tablets in Korean Contenders in 2019. But like that that was what the apparent drama with them is. And so, but now they have really no, I'm not saying this is a good pickup, but also this person has, as far as I'm aware, essentially no control over payment or contract term other than like they can give their opinion to head coach essentially as an assistant coach. So they're essentially been neutered from any power they have in regards to like team mismanagement.
Unless their opinion is you shouldn't pay this person. That's my
yeah, exactly like now, or like theoretically if a player gets mad at them and shown they can be retaliatory, so like they could be like, oh, this guy shit talked me, so I'm gonna bench you and put on this person, which they could do with Boston because they have a shit ton of players.
This is the perfect catalyst for Striker to retire.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, oh my god.
It definitely is. So yeah,
can we make an over-under on that, by the way? Can we have an official Plat chat bet?
Okay.
Striker.
So I mean, we don't know the start date for the league, right? We don't know when the date when the league actually starts. I don't think we know that, right? But do you want to say like July? Do we think Striker leaves the team before July 1st?
Yeah, like roughly at middle of the season. Yeah, like what's the over-under on that?
Okay. Let's pick July 1st. Do you think?
Right.
Everyone has to pick yes or no. Does Striker leave Boston Uprising before July 1st? Joss?
I need to see the exact.
Dude, no one knows when the fuck that is.
Yes.
I mean, there's 2 tournaments, I guess. Is it before or after Mid-Season Madness? I don't know. AVRL.
That's too early.
Mid-season is June. I'm gonna say yes, and the reason why yes is because I think the perfect storm for Boston is if they somehow flunk out, fail to qualify for mid-season, and people just internally like lose their minds and Striker just leaves. That would be it. They fail to qualify mid-season and then he's gone. I think that would be the situation if there was. I had to make up a scenario in my mind.
I think Striker makes it further than that, if only to spite Huck. Huck's no longer part of it's like just because Huck's no longer part of the organization, and they're just like, yeah, I'm sticking around this time, bitch. I'm sticking around, and it's a full Korean roster, so like, I think there's like, I think Striker in this environment. I'm not saying he won't retire during the season. I'm simply saying that I think the chances are lower than they've ever been. I think the chances are lower than they've ever been.
I think Striker is a winner. I think if this Boston team kind of doesn't do great and Shock does great, I could see Striker sending some text messages to Krusty, just being like, yo.
Hey, what's up?
Yo, you guys looking kind of fire.
It'd be too good. It'd be too good. Like
that would be legendary. I could see that happening I could see that happening, but I don't know if it would happen like earlier. I don't know if it would happen. I don't think it's gonna happen as early, but like I think this is probably the most likely situation for Striker to stay a whole season, or at least the majority of a season with Boston.
It's kind of crazy you say that considering the circumstances.
Yeah, I think it's this one.
But
I'd say
that's
I
a hot
see
take,
it.
arguably.
The most likely scenario if him leaving is that he's pissed because Boston's not doing well, and then he tries to go to Shock again. Like that's probably the most likely. Or even like I could even see him try to hit up like Houston, but it's probably be Shock. So.
Houston?
I could see him hitting them up, but I think it'd probably.
He's only allowed on 2 teams. Come on, don't betray
it.
That's
tough.
True.
That's tough. All right, let's finally get into the team previews here. So, the thinking behind these were that initially I wanted to wait to only talk about teams that have 6 members announced, because a lot of teams in the league, they have 5 members announced. They will be signing or unveiling a 6th member to the team, and I think it's kind of unfair to have these team previews and have these conversations when a lot of the 5-man rosters will sit here and be like, well, they need a 2nd tank, or well, they need a 3rd damage player to round out their team. They're missing some part in their team. And I think that is my worry with talking about 5-man rosters and why I'm hesitant to do it. That being said, I really want to wait to talk about the Western teams before, like after they played in the Pro-Am. So the reason we're not talking about Atlanta Reign early, the reason we're not talking about San Francisco Shock early, is because I think we'll do a better job previewing those teams going into the Overwatch League season after we've seen them play in the Pro-Am, and we can have more educated and better opinions about those teams. So that's why we're kind of diving into the APAC teams first, even though they are 5-man rosters. So I will say that looking back at some of these team previews, it will only be 5 members announced for some of these teams, and there will be some inaccuracies. But I think this was the best way to go about it. So so you viewers understand like why we're doing it this way. So let's kick off with the Seoul Infernal, because they announced their roster a little bit more than a week ago now, about 2 weeks ago. We talked about it a little bit on the show. We got Mag, Fixa skewed as the backline, MN3 and Cest as a legendary DPS duo. How do we feel? Just like gut feeling, you know, does it give you like a warm, fuzzy feeling? You're looking forward to watch this team? Are you worried? Are you like anxious about Mag being the tank of this team? What's just like the general first impression about this team? Let's start with you, AVRL.
First of all, I want to say that I've only just realized that all this discussion about Shanghai, that actually wasn't a team preview. I'm like, oh, we're just now starting to preview. I was like, we already talked.
Nah.
We gotta wait for a 6,
because they just fucking announced their goddamn roster.
We gotta wait for a 6 with Dragons. There's no way to do that team preview after they.
Also, we only heard that we only got the roster for what, like 2 weeks ago or something. Like something like that, like very short. Like teams now, still, we don't even know all the rosters in the damn league. And there's 2 weeks until it starts.
Now that Johnny's saying that he wanted to wait for 6 players, I feel bad about pushing Dynasty on for this week. But anyway, we'll get to them later. Seoul Infernal. We knew MN3 was Zest were being kept, and that was like the clear, obvious choice. They were your star players from last year, and I think one of the scariest duos that we had last year and still will be this year. They had some rookie nerves, especially for MN3. Zest was an unbelievable talent. Actually, did he get an MVP nomination as well? I remember that correctly. So
that was like 10 people, wasn't it?
Pretty sure he got an MVP nomination. Because rookie of the years aren't nominated. Everyone gets to be part of that. So yeah, he's great, fantastic player. I think he's the clear player to look out for on this team. They just needed some good pieces around them. The DPS duo was always solid. Tank, I think Mag is someone that if you've seen him in Runaway, you know what his potential is. He's had some bad years in the league, no doubt about it. His time on Washington, not great, and he didn't even really. He went to Boston for like 2 seconds, and then he was gone. He was one of those battle royale players that had to go up against Punk, and then it was like, okay, this is not happening. Punk is going to retain his spot again. He's going to get a victory royale, and Mag sadly got nothing out of that. Good player though. I think if you look back at his potential, like what he's actually capable of now that he's on, he's back to Korea. I don't know what it is. Was it just Washington, the scenario, the situation? You can't say, oh, mixed roster, whatever. He wanted to play Korean, so he got his Korean roster. He had some reasonable players on that team. He had some good players on that team for sure. Maybe there was some internal stuff going on. I mean, I know of one thing that's between. I won't say more, but there was one thing that he probably didn't really enjoy in that team. That he's out of the Washington system. So I think I've said this before, but this is kind of Mag's last opportunity to prove that he can get over that Washington justice hump. That kind of mellowed out his career, and he can get back towards the heights of what he was rumored to be. Because I remember coming into the 2021 season, this guy was meant to be a major rookie of the year contention, and then he petered out so quickly. Skewed as an upgrade over Aim God. I think Fixa is not the most exciting player to watch. He's potentially going to end up in the Animo tier if he's not careful, but there's belief in him. They even said that Infernal said that they noted that they liked his mechanics a lot. I hope he proves it this year and shows a lot more this year. He was good last year, but the support line feels mostly from his part, maybe a little weaker. The support line definitely was weaker for Fusion last year, so it's only a bit of an upgrade this year instead of a gigantic upgrade.
Yeah, let's go back to Mag a little bit here. I want the Jaws and Avast's opinion here on Mag a little as well. Do you think that he was in a shitty situation on the Washington Justice? Do you still believe that he can fulfill his potential, or are we kind of like over Mag at this point? Do we think there was better talent to perhaps pick up here in going into the season?
I need to remember. I need to go back. I need to go look at the Washington Justice for 2021.
I feel like I'm the only one that still has faith that Mag can do well. Well, actually, no, AVRL, you did say you think he can do well. His full potential was not reached.
Hope him.
Yeah, I do as well. I still think he has the talent. And I think a lot of the issues that he was facing, especially on like Boston, right? Like that was just a mess. Like the whole Punk win rate versus the Mag win rate. Like, dude, they shouldn't have subbed Mag in to begin with. Like, it didn't really make a whole bunch of sense. I think with him not living up to the hype after coming in from Runaway, hurt his reputation a fair bit too. I still have I wouldn't say like Gargoyle's level of faith, probably like a little bit lower than that, honestly. I think he's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to blow anybody out of the water at this point, but maybe the environment change will end up helping it. I just can't really remember a performance where I was like, holy shit, Mag, yo, Pog. That's my only problem. If I can kind of remember those moments, like I'd probably have more faith, but he's just not been like a superstar that people made him out to be, but I still think he's a solid tank player that could do well.
What about from his Runaway? Because that was the only time when you talk about pop-off.
Sure,
that's
yeah.
it. In the Overwatch,
that is the Rookie of the Year
moment,
nominee, like going into that first season of his. People were like,
exactly.
Oh, like people, he's number one rookie going into the season.
Yeah, no, and that's the problem, right? Is that he didn't have any of those pop-off moments in Overwatch League. I'm specifically talking about Overwatch League in that fact because, yeah, he was a fucking beast, like an absolute beast on Runaway. Like he was so good. And then everybody hyped him up, and it was like, okay, well, didn't really do that much. So he was like middle of the pack, but I still think he's pretty damn solid. Maybe we can expect a lot out of him this season. Maybe we'll regain some of that pop-off performance that he had on Runaway. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think he's going to be absolute shit. He's going to be pretty decent at least.
I think this is like his last year for. Am I still in the call?
DC'd?
Yeah.
Wait, hello?
Wait.
Johnny just disappeared.
How
Johnny
did I disappear?
Gone. I don't know.
Hello?
Wait, you can still hear me? Well, you can't see.
Yeah, we can
Johnny
hear
gone?
you.
I can't hear Johnny.
Oh, you can't hear Johnny? Oh,
And we're also
no.
very laggy on the call.
All right.
Jonathan!
Well, the podcast can hear me, but they can't hear me. This is not.
Oh,
great.
wait, I can hear you, Johnny. Oh no, he can't hear us.
This is
No,
what
I
that.
can hear- oh my
This is
God.
what that.
Wait, we can hear you, Johnny. We can hear you. We just can't see
No,
you.
Kevin Avril can't.
I can't
Avril
hear.
Can't hear him.
Oh, Avril
I can't. No.
Dude, this
Now I
is
can't see him either.
What the fuck's happening?
I would try.
What
Since we can
daylight
see
savings
Johnny-
does to a motherfucker?
I would try.
Daylight
I would try
savings.
rejoining Avril. I would try rejoining
Me?
because everyone
Oh,
else
yeah,
is fine. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Can
would,
you hear me
reconnect,
now?
Avril, yeah.
You can see me now. or-
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
With,
Avril's
we can see-
reconnecting. Avril's reconnecting.
Avril's gonna
We're good, we're
reconnect. Hopefully it's fixed. Because we could all still see you and hear you, and then he was having the problem. Well, I couldn't see you initially, but that was weird. That was
I
really
will
strange.
quickly agree with you, Connor, actually, that I think this is his last, like, okay, we're going to see how the fuck this guy does. If he is still mid, he is mid. He's never going to reclaim that former, like, runaway success. I would
Yeah, I
say
mean, this is the
that's
this is the
pretty
year that
accurate.
it has to happen. Essentially, if he's like insanely mid, then it's like that's not like a bad year, but it's not like a good year for him. I do think though that Boston, he got a lot of flack for the last year's Boston situation. When honestly, and before he got benched by Punk, but realistically, like he also was like I remember he was playing like some very hard matches before Punk came back into there, and he had some decent performances. The year before that, 2021 was
pretty mid.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't awful. He wasn't awful. Like I would say, like he was fine. The 2021 year was the year I was like, holy shit, Mag is like. He had like one good moment I remember in 2021, and then after that it was just feed central, literally just feed central. But that's also not like Fury looked atrocious that year, and the entire Justice team looked atrocious. So like it's really hard to be a good main tank player when your coordination is like dog and your off tank player is like having a really bad year as well. It looks like to protect you, like it just looked awful. So I think this is like the year where like because he had that like he can prove himself. But I'm not high on his stocks. It's not like someone that where I'm like, they came in, had a great year in Overwatch League, and then had some middling or bad years. He literally has only had an incredible contenders career, and he's shown nothing at Overwatch League in terms of like being like a great player. He's had some okay moments, some pretty decent moments. So with like occasional flashes of like brilliance for like literally like one map or something. So yeah, I think that like I'm not going to be extremely down on the Mag pick. And I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm feeling like Mag to me is essentially how I feel about Gargoyle. Because Gargoyle had like a great year, took a gap year, and then like is back. Mag has had like an incredible year contenders, and there's been kind of asked to okay for his performances since then. So like I consider that the equivalent of being a gap year in terms of like how I feel about them. So yeah.
as much as
I'm worried about flexibility though for this team. I will say, even though we had like a jungle
getting
queen,
to that, and we'll get to the 6-player conversation. I want to have a conversation about who they should sign as their 6th player, but there are very few tanks who get away with pretty much only being able to play Winston and Reinhardt. Now, we did say that his jungle queen was kind of mid. Maybe average jungle queen in the Overwatch League is what we're going for right now. Maybe that's, good enough considering that Infernal are clearly, a budget team this season. But it does worry me a little bit that, like, sure, if you're not convinced me that, like, Mag's gonna do it in a Winston meta, I'm down, all right? Mag in a Winston meta, I'm good for it. Even Reinhardt, I'm like, Mag playing Reinhardt, in a Reinhardt-based team, sure, I'm down for it. If you want to start convincing me to have faith in, like, the Mag Wrecking Ball, that's where it gets a bit iffy. You want to tell me, even the Jungle Queen to an extent, like, you want to tell me that, like, they're going to be a fantastic team with Mag and Jungle Queen? Okay, gotta see that. Everything else, all the other tanks, even Orisa to an extent, I'm like, I don't fucking know, man. Like, they need desperately an off-tank on this team for me to feel comfortable with them. And there's a few names in there. So I guess we'll sort of pivot the conversation there before we start talking about the rest of the team as well. AVRL, how badly does the Infernal need an off-tank player, you think?
We just haven't seen Mag play much in the off-tank pool at all. So if we assume that he's not going to be great on those, then yeah, they need one badly. It's so hard to say, man, because I think, like you said, he probably will be really good in the classic main tank kind of metas, maybe outside the ball. But ball practice is really strong in APAC for what it is. Like, if you want to learn ball, you learn that in the Korean servers. You don't learn that in NA just through rank quality alone. Yeah,
and to be transparent, I mean, I guess, I'm being kind of hard on him because a majority of his bad wrecking ball play was in 2020, right? Like, we didn't see a ton of it in 2021, I believe. Or no, I mean 2022. We didn't see a ton of it in 2022.
2021 was the ball season, in 2022.
Yeah, the bicycle helmet incident.
Last year we didn't get that.
Yeah.
No, but he had a good run because everyone saw him, talks about, in some ways, if you remember Mag, you talk about the Mag versus Fearless situation from 2021. But yeah, I don't know much about what he can do on the off tank. So you might need another player. People in the chat are saying Hotba. Would be funny if Hotba returns to this franchise again.
Fury, Fury. You won't.
Fury, he's back.
I don't know what Fury's doing. Is he looking for a team? Is he done? Like,
I'm a Fury simp. I'll just say it. I'm a Fury simp.
What's his current situation?
Am I losing my mind or thought he got announced for something?
No, he has not been announced,
guys.
She's playing. Oh,
no, I'm kidding. Let's see here. Fury. Nope. He hasn't.
I would like to see Hotba. Right? I would like to see Hotba at a different team every season, though. By different team, I mean you can go back to an old team as long as there's a year in between.
I mean,
man is the ultimate Al mercenary.
I mean, Infernal is different from Philly, right?
That's true as well.
We count Infernal is different from Philly. By that point, it'll be a 6th Overwatch League team. No, it's 5th. Sorry, it's 5th Overwatch League team because it's been on Fusion twice. Hey man, I'm a Hotba sim too, bro. Yeah, Hotba in there. He's good. He's genuinely good. Like, I would just be like, okay, Hotba with MN3 assist. They're good.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, that would round out this team pretty significantly. Overall. I mean, also there's still as far as I'm aware, like, no one has picked up 2U still either.
Yeah, 2U is good. I'll say, yeah, 2U.
Like, 2U, Hotba,
that guy's in the Sanguinar jail. Like, they just.
Yeah, something's up. Well, I don't know what's going on with
Sanguinar. Sometimes these players just end up on a blacklist and just no one wants them.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you played for the 2020 Lona Spitfire, you kind of just like.
I was in the kitchen, bro, filling out the water. And I was like, man, that's London 2020, bro.
Players that had worse, like fucking Mag played for the 2021 Justice. Okay, like Justice fucking sucked ass. Like they're on London comparatively, that was like when they played in APAC when APAC was actually like a really good region, and they had like some okay moments here and there. Like they weren't good, but like. I don't know. I think there's just something up with that. But I think that Hotba would be fine as well. Hotba would be a fine pick. Fury, I wouldn't be opposed to necessarily. Wouldn't be opposed to a Fury coming back. So there's options out there.
What did you think of Fury's last year? Because he was okay, but like I feel like you'd never got the same magic from him. I don't know if that's unfair. Because for a bunch of the year, man, he was actually benched behind Belissaria. And that was Fusion really wanting to play a lot of ball. And sometimes the ball did work. I mean, on some maps, ball was legitimately decent last year. But it's he wasn't. I guess maybe I put too much expectation on him, but Fury wasn't dynamite last year, I felt personally. Is that crazy?
No, I mean that's not crazy at all. But that's just like because I think that was part of the situation with like Fury's flexibility on tanks, like what Fusion accomplished, right? So like it just wasn't like a great
flexibility on tanks, dude. Belissaria plays ball. And what else?
Well, I mean, I just don't think they wanted Fury on main tanks.
That's so weird, though. Like,
I don't think they wanted on main tanks, you know?
So confused at the way Philadelphia Fusion last year was kind of going about the metas. Like, it was like, okay, we'll just run ball. Like, ball was good, like you said on some maps, but dude, only wrecking ball. What are we fucking Chengdu?
We also had Winston metas because Fury did play in the Junker Queen meta. Yeah. But Fusion were not a good team, but not a particularly strong team that meta.
I just don't think it was a great year for Fury overall. I think that I wouldn't write him off necessarily. Though I will admit he's now had like one really bad year with Justice and a pretty mediocre year, even pretty actually less than mediocre, like a pretty rough year still with Fusion. So like he might not be the most tracked out. But Hoppa and Tuyu would be like people. Even like is Piggy still around?
Yeah, where is Piggy?
Maybe.
Where are all
I know Janu retired, right?
Yeah, Krong retired as well, I think.
And so did Krong. So like,
Piggy's in Guangzhou.
Officially,
that's
or
right? Yeah.
Rumored?
Oh, they didn't. Did they announce?
Because Guangzhou have had no rumors and no announcements. So we could assume they're just going to redo the same team.
Wasn't there some unconfirmed source that was just like, well, Guangzhou just like re-signed everyone?
There's an unconfirmed.
Yes, that was an unconfirmed sis. Yes, that is correct.
It's not a bad team if they do, but I haven't heard anything about Guangzhou this year, so I have no idea. That would make sense. My primary assumption
is just in a dumpster. Like we're just talking nonsense.
I mean, always has been. I don't know what you mean.
Okay.
Same thing.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the damage line. I got one question here for you guys. I got one silly little question here for you guys.
Go on.
Is MN3 and Cesta top 10 damage you in the league?
I fucking hope top 10. Jesus Christ.
That's 50%. Actually, it's not even that because there's only 19 teams now.
I mean,
apparently.
that's 100. That's 100%. In the current environment of the Overwatch League, I would think that would be top 10.
Okay.
Like who would I put? I get like you have like the fucking. I would think so. I can't even imagine who I'd put above them. Right now. Well, right, I guess.
Okay, no. This is why I asked Avast, because let's run through it. Okay, here we go. Let's
run through it.
Cool. Is MN3 assessed better than Lip and Stalker?
No.
No.
Is MN3 assessed better than Striker, Decay, and Birdring?
No.
Maybe actually.
Yeah, maybe. Because
the peaks from the other team though.
I would say that, but it's not an issue of skill, it's an issue of coordination and like how well they're actually gonna like it's more of an issue of like do they return to their form. But I think that's a real maybe. It's not a definitive yes or no, it's a maybe.
Is MN3 assessed better than Happy and Pelican?
No way.
Don't think so.
I think Happy Pelican are better, but this is one of those ones where like I'm crazy with Sen, but Zest and MN3 at their picks they can compete.
They're
probably
good.
not better, but they can compete.
On the bones.
Is MN3 and Zest better than Proper and Heesang?
Definitely not.
This one's too.
No, he's saying is technically unproven in Overwatch League.
The problem is like if we get into a hit scam meta, I actually might take MN3 Zest in that one.
Maybe,
because you're looking at shot. You're looking at shot with double.
What is blood smoking?
Double flex DPS. It's not in a hit scam meta. That's not going to be good.
All right, moving on. Dude. Is MN3 assessed better than Edison and Sparkle?
Yes,
potentially. Yes. I would. Oh, we got a yes.
I would say potentially. This is another one because the thing is about Fuel is like so. If I think about pure raw, like Edison fucking pounded in the grand finals. Like he's. I would consider at this moment that Edison is better than MN3 in my opinion. I think
you need a whole year to warm up.
I think I mean if he wins the league, then sure, give him the whole year.
Is Edison one of like those old timey cars you have to crank up?
But the thing is, Edison still had a good year. Besides that, he just was splitting playtime with Gurrio.
As much as we love that Fearless won Finals MVP, Edison deserved that Finals MVP.
Edison was fucking crazy good. Edison is better than Immon3. He is better than Immon3 in my opinion right now. But
is Sparkle
Zest
better
is definitely
than
the pure mechanical talent sense right now. I think Zest is better than Sparkle, but I think Sparkle also brings intangibles. Sparkle brings intangibles,
like the Dennis Walker award.
Like Sparkle sussy.
No, like more so like it's clear they
like
view him as a leader, right? Like they view him like it's the reason why they prioritize him over Doha. Besides just his talent, was like they kept him in to play and learn new roles because like Sparkle is very crucial to their comms. It seems so like. But it's hard to really judge it.
So. I get it, but there's no.
Is Immon3 assessed better than Leave and Shy?
No way.
I don't think so.
There's no way.
I don't think so.
I think both are better than Edison. Edison, by the end of the season, was really good. But like in terms of raw peaks, I don't think Edison peaked higher than Immon3 or Shy, personally.
You don't think his performance in grand finals wasn't an insane peak from him?
It wasn't insane. It was insane. But
some of those maps.
Yeah, and so did Immon3 and Shy in their peaks too. What are you trying to say? Like, but like even more than that, like statistically, like you look at like Immon3 and Shy's performances, like Shy versus Gladiators, Immon3 versus Seoul, just some unbelievable mechanic shit. They didn't take a whole season to warm up to that either. So I'm sure it'll still be okay.
Well,
but
I also think Fuel didn't need him to be there that whole season, comparatively to like if Shy didn't have like it's really. I think it's like kind of like it's a muscular structure, you know? It's like my current abdominal wall. Right now, my neck and back are working real hard because my fucking abs are fucked up. Like I'm tense. I have pain and shit. You know, you're noticing the fact that like my abs are not in the equation right now because I fucked that shit up. But like in a normal functioning body, they're just like regular. And that's like the Dallas Fuel last year. When a functioning team, Edison didn't always have to like own every single map for them to win games, you know? And I feel like that's part of like when we look at the performances, sometimes it stands out.
The Hanbin effect
is built around it. Yeah. And also the Fielder fucking Chio effect too.
Just by the way, just to clarify as well, Dallas might still be the better team compared to Infernal this year. They actually might, because again, Hanbin can just roll up once more and diff everybody in the server. That just might happen.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not listen. How the fuck is that even a question? Is Dallas Fuel better than Seoul Infernal?
Dallas Fuel are way better than Seoul Infernal. God, good lord.
I know we have a lot of Infernal fans in the chat, but come on, guys. Dallas Fuel with Hanbin, Edison, Sparkle.
I'm just saying. I'm clarifying because it sounds like I'm about to go down a path of like, well, if he thinks Immon3 is this better, does he think Infernal is better than Dallas?
No,
I'm not at all saying. So I'm trying to clarify. I'm trying to clarify that.
The damage view is nuts. I think you're.
But moving on, you what was the next comparison? You leave Shy, right? The only thing, I'm giving Leave the pass based on his MVP performance. But last year, Leave could have done a lot more. But also, he was like in on a really rough team situation last year, and he was. I'm not gonna say he was off rolling, but like he wasn't on his preferred heroes.
Leave has a bit of a shit sandwich. The opposite of a shit sandwich, where his MVP year, he was legitimately insane. But the 2 years surrounding his MVP year, it's been a bit of like, man, I wish we could have seen better from him. Because remember, 2019 Chengdu as well. Was it 2019 Chengdu? No. Am I getting my years twisted again? He won MVP in 2021?
Yeah. He started in 2020.
Yeah,
that was
Fleta in 2020.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. 2020 from Chengdu. We're like bottom 2 or 3 APAC. It was not great. He tried his hardest, but it was a bit iffy at times. 2022, you know, ups and downs. Anyway, moving on to the next one. I'm having so much fun with this, just baiting you guys. Is Immon3 assessed better than Kai, Kevster, and Yaki?
No.
I think Immon3 is better than Kai. Kevster, that's a hard one. Depends. Are we getting the version of Gladiators who just lost to Maryville, or which version?
Oh, come on.
God. You know what? Actually, you do have a point, though. I do think, like, I think you're a little too down on Kai, though. I think Kai could have a good year again.
I would say they're quite equal, Immon3 and Kai.
Hey, man, I'd rather have Immon3 than Kai. I'm not even going to apologize.
Really?
I think, well, if you base it purely off this last year, Like,
Yeah.
but Kai still had like good moments. So I'm not entirely writing him off, but like based off like more recent
I'd say they're
performances,
pretty
you'd probably have him in 3. You know?
I'm just saying from like a GM perspective.
Kevster's a god. I'm taking
a god.
Kevster. I'm taking Kevster over
Yeah.
Zest still. Though I do think Zest is like, that's not even me doubting Zest. It's just like Zest needs more time to cook to me to put him in the conversation of like he is 100% better than Kevster, you know? Because Kevster every single year still just fucking owns. He still pops the fuck off.
Yeah.
You know? He still looks like an insanely.
Kevster's a better player who offers more to the team because he's got a far flexible hero pool that can cover more.
Yeah, and also they have Yaki to cover potential different metas. So like their DPS line also is just more flexible as well than Infernal's. So like overall, I would rather have the Glad's DPS line.
Yeah.
Dude, by the way, I can't believe Yaki joins and then they lose to Maryville. Yaki's cursed. He actually is just cursed.
Dude, if he has a bad year this year, I'm dropping him though. I'm done with it. I'm done with the Yaki Copium if he has a bad year this year. If he doesn't pop the fuck off, I'm like, nah.
Oh god.
It's okay. If he top frags every single game, but they lose, I'll still be like, okay, Copium's still on. But if he looks pretty mid and they don't win, I'm like, nah, I'm done with it.
On.
All right.
Yeah, if he frags out of control, I'll still. That's the point of the scoreboard. That's why they added it, so I could continue my Yaki Copium forever.
I promise we'll move on, but I got a few more teams. This is kind of like where the top 10 argument, like it's not really as exciting as you think it is. Is MN3 and Cess better than Hydron, Speedily, and Sam?
Yes, I think so.
I would probably. I think it's like. I think they're very young, so they have some room to grow a bit. But currently, I would take him in 3 Zest. Yes, currently I would take him in 3 Zest.
All right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Aspire, Sugar Free.
Definitely better than those.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would say so. Although,
but they also have room to grow.
Yeah, I would love to see Sugar Free after a few months.
This segment could end very poorly. Sorry, Joss, for interrupting you. Sorry.
No, go on. No, I was just saying, like, I would love to see Sugar Free in a few months from now. We could be at a point where like he just comes in and just wrecks face, like untested completely almost.
All right.
Go on.
Merit, Checkmate, Sauna.
Merit, Checkmate.
Don't sleep on Sauna, guys. Don't sleep on Sauna.
I don't know enough about Sauna. Sauna, honestly.
MN3 and Zest, I think.
Merit, in my opinion, matches him in
good.
3. Merit matches him in 3 from what we currently know. It's just Zest is a fucking incredibly good player. So like overall, I would take the Infernal DPS line, but Merit definitely keeps them in the conversation.
All right, last one. Is MN3 and Zest better than Dove and Malthel?
Hang on, I'm gonna need a minute here, guys.
Okay, but is it better than what's our proposed Valiant DPS line? Is better than Nos and Liar?
Seeker?
No, Liar or Seeker, yeah.
I
think maybe.
Tough one, fellas.
Are they better than Cum Goblin 69 and Sumito? Like
50-50 for me.
We're getting silly. We're getting silly. All right. Let's round out talking about the members on the roster here. Skewed. It'll be a very important year for Skewed here as well. He's leaving the LA Gladiators. Sort of like a third wheel, kind of like support player who, obviously had a tremendous, wow, can't even speak. A fantastic brig for LA Gladiators for the longest time, especially in 6 vs 6 when they won the 4th stage in 2021, getting my years right. But also, seen some time playing the Senora for this team, even Ana at times, I believe, for this team as well. Do we think that Skewed, this is quite an interesting question here, AVRL, because Skewed, keep in mind, he was on that garbage team in Contenders before the LA Gladiators. Do you think that, like, with his time with the LA Gladiators, do you have faith that Skewed could, like, hold his own weight on this team and actually, like, play up a little bit and compete with some of these better flex supports?
That's the question, right? Because he spent a lot of time mostly being benched behind Shun. By the way, that Contenders team, Oz Gaming, I believe they were called, somehow, despite being the worst Contenders team, they literally didn't win a single game. Half their roster still got picked up for Al, just as an aside. So it's the craziest story I've ever seen from Contenders Al. But I think Skewed is, when we did see him, he was great. Double flex support was so good with Skewed in. And the fact that he's got a top brig next to his flex support picks is super valuable because, I'm not saying that we'll ever get a double main support meta again, but if that happens, the Jotes man with Lucio Brig, I mean, they're ready for it. Skewed is ready for it. So I think he's great. I think this was a legitimate upgrade, and I'm looking forward to Skewed because I think he's got a lot of potential to show without constantly living in Shu's shadow.
So to clarify, you think that like Aim God was so subpar last year that you find Skewed to be like a definite upgrade?
Skewed would have been an upgrade to a lot of people. It's not even about Aim God. I mean, you could have had a better play than Aim God. Skewed probably still would have been an upgrade. I think lads last year, and for 2 years that they've had both Skew and Shoot together, that was just such a good duo. Even with the trio, including the main support players as well. But I legitimately think Skewed is a really, really good player.
Joss, what do you think about Skewed time playing next to Funny Astro?
Yeah, man. I'm like a little bit worried because he hasn't seen a lot of the like not as a mainstay support. Brig is his best hero by far. Are we going to see a Brig meta in the upcoming Pro-Am and the start of the Overwatch League? Doubtful. Feels like Ana Kiriko. Me and Scott have been playing actually a ton of Ana Kiriko. It's pretty fucking good. It's rough, man. I want to believe so bad because when he was on Glads and when he did sub in, he was really good. But then he was only subbed in for a certain amount of time, like for certain picks and heroes and maps and shit. So it's like, I don't know. I think my doubts are skewed right now are going to outweigh, my hope from him being in the Gladiators with some of the other good support players. Fix is pretty decent still, I think. I think he's okay. I think Skewed has got a lot to prove this year. I think there's only two ways this can go about. Either he's going to do really damn well, like from his time in the Glads, take that experience and shit, or he's going to bomb out. Which obviously I don't hope he bombs out. Yeah, I really don't hope he bombs out, but I think there's still potential there. I'm not sold completely on this backline right now.
He won't play Brig, by the way. If Brig gets played, it'll be Fixer.
Sure, but that's kind of a.
Hey man, Fixer
right?
Ana, Fixer Ana, as seen in the Summer Showdown, the mid-season madness tournament.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern about that backline is their flexibility, right?
Yeah, I just don't.
Because they have two different holes to fill. They have the lack of like, okay, they might need an off take, but they also might need a flex support, like another one. Yeah, like someone else that can play another flex support.
Don't most teams have that problem? Most teams only have two supports. And not double flex.
But like this is like more of a pigeonhole backline right now. Like Skew was coming in to play Brig for the majority of the time that he was in, and like maybe some other heroes here and there, but like he again not a mainstay as a support. This is his first.
That was because of Glads. Would you? No one in their right mind would really play Skewed over Shoot. That's not because Skewed isn't good. It's because Shoot is Shoot.
But that worries me. Like
I think
we haven't seen him tested on anything else properly.
We've seen bits and pieces, and he looked good on those bits and pieces because technically, like he wasn't a support player coming into the Overwatch League. He literally didn't play support. Like,
yeah, sure.
Sorry, who? What do you mean?
Like,
Skewed. He wasn't he a DPS? He was a DPS player.
No, I'm pretty sure he was a support player.
Who am I thinking of that played
Diem?
DPS and then not
Diem.
Yeah.
What the hell? I could have sworn. Am I completely?
You think of like Teru or somebody?
No, no, that might have been that, but no, I don't think it was.
Bobble.
Maybe I'm completely misremembering.
Babble, yeah.
I could have sworn Skewed was not initially. But either way, the point being,
maybe
we haven't seen that much of him on flex support.
Yeah.
In terms of like in the Overwatch League.
So, and that's a worry because flex support is so fucking good. Like have we seen him a lot on Kiri? Fuck no. A lot on Ana? Fuck no. Like.
All right. Joss looks legitimately worried.
I'm concerned.
And that means. I don't know what that means. I just lost it. Anyway,
that means Jaws has to decide where they go.
We've done a good job at talking about all the players like individually, but we also have to talk about the Seoul Infernal, relatively speaking, because the APAC region is going to be very interesting this year. You know, not only with contenders teams, but also looking at this roster with the amount of worries we have. Where do they stack up? Comparing them to teams like Hangzhou Spark, Seoul Dynasty, Guangzhou Charge, if they keep their roster the same. Not the Chengdu Hunters, because who the fuck knows. But, you know, when it comes to placing the Seoul Infernal on this tier maker right here, it gets pretty tough, in my opinion. What do we think?
I think they're a solid C.
What?
I mean, they're not
C. C?
CB?
This man's under. What the fuck's the underrated?
Are we putting them for the whole? We're putting them for the whole. Every team in the league. We're ranking for against every team here.
Well, I mean,
CB?
yes,
A?
Yeah, okay. So that, I mean, I'm just making sure that that's what we're doing. So
I would not read too much into like the placements like within a tier. So like I don't really give a fuck if I place like them behind Paris or Vegas or like, you know, I don't do that. But for the tiers themselves,
man, just put them in the Washington. What are you doing?
Unproven.
What are you putting in the Washington tier?
I am reserving my thoughts.
What's unproven? All 5 players played in the league last year.
Where do you want them, Avro?
They all played in the league last year. What's unproven?
Where do you want them?
We just talked about it. What do you mean?
I think this is a team. If I could power rank them for Apex specifically, top 3 right now behind Spark Fuel comfortably. So I don't know what that says overall.
No, I'd say it's overall. It's, you know, we're not fucking around with different regions over here. When we do 1 through 20, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I understand. No, that's not. I'm going through my thought process. I'm not saying what you're doing. I'm just going through my thought process.
Yep, I'm listening.
I think this team is. If we have defined an A, I would be happy anywhere B or above. But I'm thinking A. But I would be happy with at least B.
Avril is thinking A for the Seoul Infernal.
Behind Defiant.
I would not have them A, but I would have them. I would definitely have them B.
I would go B.
I would not have them A.
B.
I don't think it's fair. Because like, well, I'm just thinking about the other teams where we'd rank them, right? Like, okay, so like you have your classic D tiers. Like we know where the D, like pretty much all the Ds are going to be. The C. I don't think it's fair to put them in C either. I think they're definitely above that caliber. It's really a discussion if they go in a B or an A, and it's like, if we are putting Defiant in the A, would this team consistently match up against Defiant, do you feel? Like consistently, like, because like M3 Zest I'm not worried about. I think that DPS line could match up against Defiant very consistently.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Like 100%, like, and likely be better than many times. Their backline, UV, OG, Majed versus Fixa fucking skewed. I don't know. I think that backline is like pretty inflexible comparatively, and it lacks firepower. Not that skewed, I think himself lacks firepower. It's more so Fixa does. Not because Fixa's bad. He's just a pretty. Fixa is to me is like a he's like a Jexa with less time in the league. I think Fixa is like. That's how I feel about Fixa. I feel like you won't lose with Fixa, though sometimes he has fed. You won't lose with Fixa necessarily.
You will definitely sound barrier engage with Fixa. That I can tell you.
That's I feel like Jexa also currently, because of his tenure in the league, also is better. But the point being is more so I'm just putting him as like, it's a main support that gets the job done. Girls get shit done. Fixa gets shit done, okay? Fixa gets shit done. Yeah, okay. He's not, I don't think Fixa is like a bad player. He's just not someone that I would ever say that like he's
not exciting.
Yeah, he's not going to win you a bunch of matches. He's just going to do his job most of the time. He's just going to do his job. And to me, the Majed UV backline and a double flex fucking blows this backline out of the water. Or even in a main support flex backline, like they're probably going to be like, though granted, I will say OG did not have like the greatest year. So they're more comparable. So overall, I would probably put Defiant above this.
B.
I think they should be in B. I think it should be in B.
Yeah. Dude,
I also think their tank line flexibility is way better too.
He's
so like,
still untested in is what I meant in like a mainstay fucking support role. Like I agree with Connor. I also think Mag, again, this is his final year to be either the pop-off king that he shall be, or you know, just living in the dumpsters. Like I
agree with B, because the roster actually kind of like makes sense. Compared to some other rosters I've seen in the league, this roster, it makes sense. They're good players.
No flexibility at all.
And they'll add one more player, and I'm pretty confident in Roston that it'll be a nice, suitable player that helps this team. I think B is the right spot. And, you know, people have different views on like A versus B. You know, what does S mean? How many teams are going S? We all have different opinions, and that's why it's fun to do these rankings in the first place. Because they're just fucking fun, all right? We specialize in fun over here. We're not being too serious and analytical. And
he's trying to justify having fun. Look, we're just having fun. Look, chat, we're having fun here. Entertainment.
Okay, we need to move on from this topic, Joss. I can't.
Okay, go on. It's fine.
All right, but there you go. Seoul Infernal. I think everyone agrees. Seoul Infernal B makes sense. It's justifiable. All right. So we got 2 more team previews. Let's move on then. So. The reason why we didn't discuss them when it came to the news section was because we might as well do it in a team preview right here. Seoul Dynasty announced their roster this past week. And, of course, Prophet is back. We already knew that. But 4 other interesting pickups, including Void, coming back from what was supposed to be the military. I guess it didn't go, and now Void is the tank.
Turns out it's shorter than 18 months. It was more like 18 minutes.
Yeah, turns out he was on the bus and was like, "Nah, I'm gonna Uber home. I'm good."
It just turned into a U-turn and just went back home. Yeah,
we just went back home.
Jumps out the window.
Prophet as well. Prophet, a hit scan player coming out of the O2 Blast system. I say that because it was O2 Blast, but also the O2 Blast Academy before that. And for your backline, you have Lee Soo-min and Krillin playing the main support for this team as well. This is an interesting roster right here. AVRL, you already tweet about it. Big P, Lil P. I want Avast's opinion here while he's gorging down snacks down his throat, trying to aid his...
Dude, I love Thai sweet chili popcorners. I love their commercial for the Breaking Bad commercial for the Super Bowl too. That's the only reason I started eating them. No, I'm joking. I just like them before that. But
the reason I go to you, Avast, is because we need your funny bone. We need to figure out how the fuck to navigate the Prophet scenario.
I thought this was the team that signed Fury, but because it was another like off take that had been around for a while, I was like, oh, but I mixed it up. There was that's who they had signed.
Is Big P, Lil P, as everyone suggested, is it a good?
No, I have a better solution. The league should probably just have them change their fucking name.
Yeah, please. Yes, please.
Yeah.
The league should probably just have them change their goddamn name. People, unironically, I saw people like, when I saw this, like, oh man, this is a nightmare. I don't, that sucks. Like, this is going to be a tough one to navigate. People were unironically like, well, they just need to announce they just need to pronounce the ET differently than the IT. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what do you mean pronounce it differently? They're like, it's the emphasis on the prophet versus profit. And I'm like, okay, sure. Technically, yes, there is a pronunciation difference. But my guy, we're over here in OT, Lijiang Tower. Like, okay, here comes Void coming in to get this point, and here comes Prophet coming in quick, Prophet with a quick, like, what the fuck? Like, you're gonna be screaming into the mic trying to differentiate those when you're like casting, like mid OT fight on a control, like. And everyone's like, okay, but here comes Prophet on the tracer. Don't forget, Prophet still on the flank. Like, just think of the cast. Think what the cast would sound like when you're trying to, like, enunciate those words. Like, that's just ridiculous. And they make it so,
oh, it's so easy, guys. Like, these people are professional speakers. Can't you differentiate? Like, what the fuck?
So true.
This is dumb as
it's bizarre. It's a name. Like, because most of the time when I was talking to as a native English speaker, if someone was trying to tell me Prophet in normal, non-rushed conversation, when I don't have like 10 sweaty as fuck Korean boys trying to win the goddamn control point, I'd be like, oh, which prophet? Like, and they use them interchangeably. I'm like, okay, like I'd be a little confused when they say prophet or prophet or prophet. I'd be a little confused. In a cast, when shit's going like wild, I'd be like, there's no way anyone's gonna have the time to do this.
Also, British English, you say the same thing anyway. I would never say prophet.
Well,
no one says prophet. Who the fuck says prophet?
Prophet. I'm a prophet. No. There's not. We're taking lots of profits today. It's the same fucking thing.
It's exactly the same.
English is dumb.
Here's my issue with Big P and Lil P here, AVRL. Okay.
I was joking, by the way. I was being a little facetious.
This is an important issue for us. This is very on topic for us as professionals in this industry. Okay. Who, in your mind, just to clarify, who is Big P and who is Lil P?
Clearly Big P is Prophet and Little P is Prophet.
See, I take issue with that. I take issue with that because if I'm a novice viewer, I'm going to explain it to you right now. If I'm a novice viewer, I tune into the Overwatch League. I'm just making this up, but like, maybe the Overwatch League goes back to Twitch or whatever because of this YouTube deal. I don't know if that's actually the case. But like, someone on Twitch is like, oh, what's the Overwatch League? I'll tune into that. And someone goes like, oh, Big P, Lil P. I will instantly assume as a new viewer to the league that Big P is the one with the longer nickname. Prophet has a longer nickname.
I'm going to
Big P.
This is why I was joking.
The most bizarre. Well, no, this is insanely bizarre set of logic. Why would you? When someone would refer to themselves like when you talk to like the notorious, you know, when you like a notorious BIG or like Biggie Small or like someone that has like a name where like there's putting emphasis on a section, right? Or like Lil Wayne. Do you assume that's because his name's really short or something? Because he's like Lil Wayne. Like, do you think it has to do with their own shit? Like, why would you assume it's that versus like essentially an honorific of like Big P is like we're calling Big P because he's.
They have no idea. No,
but we're calling him Big P because we're gonna be indoctrinating him about talking about how Prophet is the better overall player and has been around forever. You know, like the Big P is more so honorific pilled than it is like a shortening of anything.
That's what it was meant to be.
That's the whole point of it. Like, why would you assume it's a linguistic like shortening of how long the name is?
Also,
like, that's just so weird to me.
I was first impression.
Swedish people.
I was also literally just trying to insert a penis joke in that tweet. Was what I was actually trying to do.
That's fair.
Look, if I cast this fucking team and they don't change their name, I'm calling them Big P, Little P.
Okay, here's what's actually going to happen.
This is fucking funny, and we also need a height check.
Here's what's actually going to happen. The best one that I've heard that I've thought about a lot is first of all, the original Prophet, the GOAT Prophet, he's keeping his name, because I've heard some stuff was like, oh, just don't call Prophet, we'll call him GOAT and call the other guy Prophet. I'm like, why the fuck would the new guy get to be called Prophet when that's the name of the original player? Surely the original player gets to keep his name. The new guy has to be the one that changes his name. So that's not happening. So the solution, in my opinion, is the original Prophet keeps his name. He's there because he's the fucking GOAT. The new guy, because the emphasis is on the PH, I'm just going to come PH. Prophet and PH is my legitimate plan.
PH.
Well, Prophet and PH. Talk about Prophet, talk about Prophet. The other guy's called PH.
You could, I mean, I'm looking at his alternate IDs.
Great way to solve this.
That he's had before. MK18, SHSF.
That wouldn't make any sense because it's just there's not even close to his
just
current alias.
Oh, you're looking at his alternate names,
the easiest is PH because that's the emphasis of what's different in his name. It's easy to say. It's quick. You know, rolls off the tongue.
PF
and call him by his first name, maybe.
I think it'll. That's less easy to say.
What about Lil Bro? Let's call him
Lil Bro. Yo, Lil Bro.
The problem is that it's just too different. It's got to be something that you can easily attach to the name, and because again the defining difference in the name is the PH, I feel like that's where you want to attach the emphasis.
I unironically think you'll have to refer to them by the hero they're playing.
But that thing is, it's gonna feel so awkward. It's gonna feel awkward. Like when you're watching the play and you're like, ooh, like the Cassidy here gets like 3 kills, and like, okay, here comes Genji. Like, I mean, like it just it sounds
impersonal. Weird. It's so impersonal. Like it sounds like you're doing
a
ranked game,
VOD review. Yeah, of a ranked game or something.
You're not even watching pro players.
Also, how do you like?
It's like if you watch football, it's like the quarterback throws to the running back. It's like, what the fuck? They have names. Like this doesn't make. Yeah. You don't call them. You don't.
How do you build the storylines?
Like
how do you even like build those?
I kind of disagree, but okay. Like I'd say use the main tag like a lot of the time, but in certain situations, I think saying the hero is fine too. Just not like permanently.
But that's the thing. You do that like 10% of a cast, probably, right?
Sure,
You'd probably do the hero names like 10 to 15% of the cast normally. This would be like removing their names from the equation outside of like the hero select screen.
All right. Well, I think if you're talking about a damage player, I think either with good camera work, you're spectating the player, or you're talking about a damage player as in like killing people. You'll see it in the kill feed. I think it probably will be fine.
There is. I think they just changed their I'm going to make a bet. There is no way they're going to change the name. I think they're going to run with it, and it's just going to be funny, and then we're just going to have to come up with something.
It's going to be stupid as hell. I think I'm putting my foot down early. It's going to be stupid as hell.
They've had traditional sports where like two sports players with the same last name.
But the thing is, you have also the thing is, but you have like jersey numbers.
Yeah, but no, that's like number three with a good pass.
But that's fair. That's fair. To be fair, but. That is completely fair. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's gonna be dumb because like we can avoid that because we can just change the alias.
Wouldn't they just add in the initial, the first name? So like if you know.
Yeah, they generally put the initials and stuff for like. So that's for like the logos, not during the call. I don't think.
I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how they would do it during the call, but my point is like if two people have the same last name, that you differentiate by the first name. In traditional sports, because it's very rare that you would have someone with the exact same name, both first and last. And then
I do remember someone pointed it out. I do remember there was an NFL play where Josh Allen, a defensive player, picked off Josh Allen, the quarterback, and it was Josh Allen picking off Josh Allen. So that was pretty good. I do remember that.
Yeah, I mean they do say like last names a lot. Like if a player would be like, there's a lot of Williams or like Browns or like Allen in the situation, be like, Allen here with the catch, and like they didn't specify the player name, right? So like technically you can differentiate it, but also like traditional sports are typically less hectic than Overwatch.
Yeah.
And also we have the power to change it. We can't force someone to change
now.
their legal name for sports. Typically, you can't be like, oh, you have the same last name. Actually, you'll be receiving a new lineage and you'll have a new name now.
That's
but like
where the Chinese players are just like way further ahead of us. The Chinese players, they don't care anymore. They rename
just
all the time.
change their names.
Coldest is like Cold J. You got Elsa is 20.
Elsa is 20 now. Yeah, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah. Next year will be 21.
Like I said, I've got a good feeling it's not going to get changed. It's going to be up to the fucking APAC people that end up casting Seoul Dynasty.
So let me lay down what I think. Here's the situation that needs to happen.
Okay.
Okay. Let's assume it's not going to. Let's assume they're not going to change their name. Cool. They're not going to change the name. So we got to figure out a way to do this. The solution is not. We're just going to call them both Prophet. The solution is also not calling him something that's actually more difficult to say. Like if anything, the job has to be made easier. So like. Calling him by his real name is, first of all, it's like weird as a standard for watching. I know some people actually do have their real names, but that's actually their tags. It's different. But his real name is both harder to say and longer in terms of more syllables. And this whole like prophet thing, I'm not changing a pronunciation of a real life word to be weird about it. That's just strange.
We just gotta do it, Avril. We just gotta do it. We just gotta do it. Also, just live with it.
And also, it sounds like word salad when things get hectic, which is bad for the broadcast. So
it'll be funny as fuck for 2 matches.
It'll be extremely hilarious for a tiny amount of time, and then excruciatingly painful for the rest of the season.
Dude, can you imagine if they do like a finals MVP thing and they're like, the winner is Prophet? Like what?
So it's got to be a situation where like whatever the alternative name is enough of a clear callback to the original name that it makes sense, and is easy to work with, especially in hectic situations, and is makes sense, easy to say, and hopefully sounds good. That's why I lean towards Prophet and PH, unless there's legitimately a better one. It just can't be more difficult than that, and that's like the path of least resistance, which is what the road I try and take. And all the people saying like Pripet and Propet, it's like, come on,
Propet.
Like if we're just
pets, like fucking.
What are we doing? Like you're making it worse. You're just making it worse.
Oh, this is so absurd because also we're doing it like a team preview. Oh, yeah, and like we're just like discussing. We need to move on. But it's just so silly.
These people are making it worse. These people are just saying like random bad.
I'm sorry, it was silly.
Stop it, guys. Stop
it. It's funny. It was. I still lost my mind when I saw people being like, "Yeah, you have to just pronounce the difference of the last one. Just enunciate it differently." I'm like, you are high. You are high as you are actually high. If you think that's gonna happen.
All right. So let's actually take a break from the damage players. I want to talk about Void here for a second. Void, I mean, I think we can all agree he's a great player. Void as the solo tank prospect on this team. Last year he was duoed up with Fate on the Shanghai Dragons. What do you think about Void and his prospect as a solo tank for the Seoul Dynasty going into this year?
I'm not confident.
Are you sold?
About it myself.
You're not sold?
I'm not sold on Soul.
You want some assistance here. You want some rounding out.
Because he just doesn't, we have zero tape on him playing other stuff. And like, I think Void is a very good player. Like you have him on an off tank role, you're not going to be like upset about this. It's just, I just don't know what it's going to look like if he's a solo tank. I simply don't know what the quality of the solo tank is going to be. That's it. That's my number one concern. I literally have no clue. No clue.
It's fine with the Junker Queen, but I don't think we're going to get a Junker Queen meta again, so that's a little bit redundant.
I don't consider Junker Queen typically. Junker Queen, like, obviously, it's kind of like one of those tanks where, like, some main tanks could do it, some flex tanks could do it, but, like, every flex tank could have played Junker Queen. It's just, like, whatever the role. Some main tanks were atrocious at Junker Queen, you know?
So the problem with Void is we look back at last year, Shanghai had a pretty rough season outside of their stage win, which was deserved, and that was actually off the back of Void, so he was kind of spearheading that one. But man, he just barely got game time, and I'm not saying it's his fault, but we got a lot more main tank metas than we did off tank metas, and even in the actual off tank metas, I feel like when Void was legitimately subbed in, playing the Samzari and stuff like that, it felt like he wasn't up to scratch. I don't know if it was his fault or maybe the whole of Shanghai was just they were fucking around because Fleta also had a really shocking year, so it could have just been the whole team really. Yeah, Void's entire season last year just kind of was a bit of a letdown, so it doesn't leave you with a lot of confidence unless it's Jungle Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another kind of untested, like how are they going to do on their own kind of thing on a roster. Are they going to pick up another tank, or are they going to pick up another support player? Is the big question, because I feel like
you gotta go tank.
Well, but I feel like you've probably got to just go for a main tank player.
Yeah, you do.
But I feel like main tank players are so fucking rare these days.
Fate's available.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Fate is fucking available. But I don't know. I think Void's going to be pretty okay. It really does depend on the meta, though. I think if we do get like a strong like Sigma Diva like off tank meta-y kind of thing, I think he's going to do pretty damn well. But other than that, yeah, the team's going to struggle. I feel like most teams right now are struggling to find that balance between having an extra support player and extra tank player. And it looks like Seoul are going to be one of those two.
It's just even in the off-tank midas, like I said, even in the off-tank midas where Void did play outside of Jungle Queen, it just wasn't really didn't convince you that Shanghai were good. And I'm not saying it's Void's fault, but Shanghai didn't succeed in the off-tank midas either as a team. So it just doesn't leave you with a good feeling.
The better player there. I said Fate was definitely a better player right there, right?
Yeah, I mean, we also did have more main tank midas, but yes, when you compare Fate's performances when it was his turn on the controller versus Void, Fate did more.
All right, I'm sure AVRL, you have lots to say when it comes to Prophet and Lee Soo-min as well, considering how big of talents they are. I do want to throw it to Avast and Jaws as well first here. Have you done any studying up on these new rookie players?
On Lee Soo-min, I watched some of his stuff from Sin Prisa Gaming. Seems pretty good. Well, that seems to be my take on Lee Soo-min. Prophet, also O2 Blast, he seems like I don't know. From what I've seen, this is limited, right? So I'm not gonna go speak from like a full exact authority because I haven't like poured through the VODs. I've just seen bits and pieces and like kind of jumped between VODs essentially. Just get like kind of an overview. I put out my mind. I expanded my mind like Professor Xavier and just I just encapsulated a lot of data. And I would say they're both pretty good. I actually might have. I don't know. I'm at points. I was like, I might have even had Lee Soo-min potentially on like a raw potential as a support player. I'm more excited about them than I am Prophet, the new Prophet, PH Prophet. But like, I would say they're both like pretty just solid additions right now. Where I'm like, I think Lee Soo-min is, like I said, I'm more excited about them joining. I think there could be a pretty interesting prospect.
I would say my only problem with PH is only being on O2 Blast. And like, that's weird to say that being a problem, but if you're on a team that just consistently has the best talent in Korea that will just funnel players to the Overwatch League, not saying you could kind of slip under the radar just getting dub after dub after dub, but I would like to have seen him on like a different team that hasn't got the historical like success as an O2 Blast does before like giving like, oh, this guy's he's the new proper, you know, he's the new GOAT DPS player that's come up through Korean contenders. Yeah, obviously won a lot with the team, but at the same time, is he like what if he has worse teammates? Like what if he is?
I agree with you, Jack. I agree with you heavily on that.
It's like hard to. I always think it's kind of hard to really judge someone that's only been on a team that just fucking wins everything.
I'll give my sense too, and then we can let AVRL cook here. I will say I don't know how good of a Widowmaker Vari pick is here, but when trying to find Prophet PH VODs, which are hard to come by because Aid plays a lot for the O2 Blast as well, this half was really what kind of like convinced me that I do have faith in Prophet. I think Prophet not only like, racking up picks, you're playing Widowmaker, whatever, but the aggressive, proactive nature of how he played Widowmaker was just like instantly won me over and gave me confidence that this is someone I want to see in the Overwatch League. Like, got good mechanics, he got picked there, which is unfortunate and ironic for my point here. But overall, like, like last year, for example, one thing I was wrong about, and sometimes I get things right and sometimes I get things wrong. One thing I was wrong about was that I thought that Gurrio would excel with Dallas Fuel, because I thought Gurrio was a good player on a bad team, and being part of Dallas Fuel, it sort of like unleash him and make Gurrio really good. What we saw in the 2022 season, though, was Gurrio was just like so passive. Like and if you go to the Overwatch League stats lab and you actually go and look at like Gurrio first elim rates, it's so bad. It's like low. It's really bad. But just looking at Prophet, the way he plays Widowmaker on this map, and they won this fight already, but like I feel like he's way more proactive and takes engagements and like really peaks aggressively and finds picks as a result. That instantly, to me, just like that display of confidence in your game as a Widowmaker and willingness to like find opening picks, I just loved seeing that. And so it already like set me up as a great first impression, where I'm like, this guy is a hit scan player who seemingly is skilled and he's proactive in his game and he finds opening picks. Like, that's what I want to see from a hit scan player. So round us out here, AVRL. What do you think about the PH as a pickup here for the Seoul Dynasty?
So the blessing and curse of O2 Blast is you get to be on the best team, but you are sharing the roster and starting positions among like so many other people. Like O2 Blast always have gigantic rosters, and they like to hoard talent because they know they can sell them. And for O2, that's been working like a charm for several years now. You just hold all the best talent in your team and cash in every off season. Not only, Jack, you mentioned he only played for one team. Not only has he only played for one team, that's not as much of a red flag for me. He only plays one hero on one team, and just the Widowmaker, which on this Widowmaker we're seeing from the clips, and as Johnny said, great performance, clean mechanics, super sharp Widow player. Obviously it helps when your team is able to give you all the space and room, all the space in the world, and the rest of the team is able to kind of gap the other members on the other side and in the various positions. Like 2U's not getting past Max in that Sigma battle. No chance. Heesang's definitely got to be I can't even see who the other Sojin player is. Just totally forgotten. Is Aid? Heesang's better than Aid. Aid is good though. Prophet's going to have full map control in situations like this. It's going to help him out a lot. But he's also just mechanically super talented. But we haven't seen him on other picks, and I had the same criticism in terms of people would ask me, was like, how good do you think this player is? And it was like, well, he's mostly benched behind Probe. To be fair, Probe is there to play the Sojin, and we never got to see PH on Sojin at all. It's just Probe smashed out the Sojin, so clearly O2 had in their minds that, we have 2 hit scan players, and and actually, by the way, Heesang also plays Sojin at various points, so that's 2 DPS in your team, both a flex DPS and another hit scan that's played Sojin over you, if we're talking about for PH's POV. He only got subbed in to play Widowmaker, and that was it. I don't know if I should be concerned or what, but there's no way you pick up a player just off the Widowmaker. So clearly he's done better in trials. He's done better to show the Seoul Dynasty he's got more flexibility, and he's going to have to, because there's only 2 DPSs on this roster, and if they do get a 6th player, I expect their last player to be a tank to cover Void. I don't know. I think this is potentially a risky pickup because Probe's available, right? Like, no one picked him up.
That was going to be my next question. Would you have assumed that Dynasty would have preferred either Probe or Aid as their pickup?
I don't know about Aid, but is Probe eligible, by the way? I don't know how old he is.
He's in Blast, yeah, and he's 18 years old.
Is he? Okay, well, I maybe would have taken Probe, because Probe is clearly O2 Blast's preferred pick. Probe benched PH. Probe was the starting hit scan player, right? O2's thought that he was the better player. Now, I don't know what happened to the scrims, and I don't know what happened to the trials. Maybe
could also be a buyout thing. Maybe.
Could it be? Did they not both have the same? Maybe they didn't.
I'm just saying, as I have no fucking idea, but
it could be, but like because we don't know anything about the buyers, I'll just speak only in a vacuum towards the player's skill on its own, and that alone, I felt like Probe would have been the better pick outside of any no knowledge of scrims or trials or anything like that. Just on match data and matches alone, and just the decision making with an O2 to play Probe over PH as a starting player. So that surprised me, because if Probe's available, then they pick this guy over Probe, which is really interesting. Moving on to Lee Soo-min, he's good, but like we realistically only saw him on Kriko. I know in the gameplay footage you just put on, there was like some Zen in there, but realistically, we talk about what was good about Lee Soo-min. What did he do well? It was basically Kiriko, and he didn't play in A sides, he only played in B sides and run it black. So the last 2 out of 3 tournaments, which were hard Kiriko metas. And we saw no flexibility. Not his fault, because that's just a meta, and you're obviously not going to play any other support when Kiriko is dominating. So if we just continue getting Kiriko metas, I'm sure he'll do fine. I don't know what he looks like outside of that hero, though.
How sold are you on Lee Sumin's Kiriko? Just like, if we're like sort of like putting it on a scale, because I watched a limited amount, I'll say that, but some of his Kitsune rushes, considering like how people are hyping up Lee Sumin, some of his Kitsune rushes and some of his Susus were a bit suspect to me. Do you think he comes into the league as like a better than average flex support player? Do you think he's that talented, he's that good, or do you think he has something to prove in the league?
I think you gotta narrow it down. Is he better than average Kiriko player? Because we really don't know what the rest of his picks kind of look like, and I don't count that one Zenyatta map as really telling me a lot. He's such an unknown, because I haven't seen his games outside of what he's done in Simpreza, and what he's done in Simpreza is just Kiriko, and his Kiriko mechanics were solid. I think he did some. I don't remember if I specifically made any insane comments about him, but I do remember he carried some games of where I notice a support player like really showing up, and I don't mean on the kill feed, I just mean like kill feed plus other impact, timings, different things. Are they saving players? Are they in the right place? All this other kind of other stuff. And if you can sort of stand out and make me remember you, that's something I feel like Lee Sumin definitely hit that bar. I don't know if that's like a very valuable, I guess it's an eye test kind of situation for me. So he passes an eye test for me. So yeah, he's impressive enough. He's probably one of the, if you were to ask me for a list of players outside the O2 Blast members to look out for, Lee Sumin would definitely make the list.
Yeah, see, I agree with that. That's why I was like pretty big on Lee Sumin, because I felt like Prophet, like the aforementioned things, he just had every resource in the world to work with, on top of also having a limited hero pool. While I feel like Lee Sumin was like working with, he was that guy was Slumdog, he was Slumdog Billionaire in it, you know, like he was grinding from the ground up. Prophet, he was kind of, I wouldn't describe him as a nepo baby in this sense, but like in terms of like what the resources they had to work with, it was like vastly different. And Lee Sumin had like pretty good moments, but his flexibility is also suspect. I really don't know what their,
it's not his fault though, it's just the meta.
No, it's just the meta, exactly. So like to me, I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing the differences, and like I'm more excited about Lee Sumin's capabilities, especially from like the classic like no name like lower tier contenders Korean contenders team, like importing like just some like crazy talent, than I am like, oh, new O2 Plat Blast like fucking backup DPS player just dropped, you know? Like I'm just like, yeah, you know, like Lee Sumin's just a far more exciting prospect to me, and like what they're doing.
You feel like people just kind of give, and people includes us as well, just kind of give free passes to every O2 Blast players. Like, might as well. I mean, he's from O2 Blast, probably gonna be good. I feel like, you know, don't need to look too much into it.
Prophet PH would be like the candidate, because we don't know anything about PH. And when we're going, I mean, we might as well do it now, and we'll have the rest of the conversation. Like when we're doing this tier maker right now, and we're putting Seoul Dynasty on this list, I'm honestly worried about PH. Like, we don't know too much about this player. Yes, he succeeded on O2 Blast. He had like good Windmaker at times. What happens if we go into a Genji Tracer meta? Is Prophet big fuck? Prophet going to play Genji and PH going to play Tracer? Like, what are we doing?
That's what I'm saying. He's completely untested outside of the team that always wins everything.
So this might be one of the few teams in the league with one tank player that I'd almost rather, for confidence sake, see pick up a third damage player, because I have no idea how good PH will be and how flexible PH will be. I'd rather if I had to pick between one more tank and one more damage, I'd rather want more damage.
I just remember as well.
Actually, I'd take the gamble on the DPS, to be honest with you. I'd pick up another tank.
We don't know anything about PH except his Widow.
I would take the gamble. I 100% would take the gamble.
But the thing is, I mean, we don't know anything about fucking Lee Sumin either, that other than his Kiriko, really. So
what we do know is Kiriko is still meta. Meta is fine, right?
Sure.
So right now,
what we need is a leak scrim code. We need a scrim code leak right now from Dynasty.
Where are the scrim code leaks?
Full Dynasty, please.
So Dynasty versus Shanghai Dragons, where are they at? I will pay good money. I will pay. Where do they stream in Korea? Do they stream on Twitch still? Twitch subs. Yeah. I'll pay Twitch subs for your codes. There you go.
Oh man.
Where are we putting this team, guys? We haven't even spoken about Krillin yet. Apparently, he's doing some Lucio stuff.
Oh yeah,
But you got
Krillin Lucio,
stuff.
fellas. Krillin Lucio versus Gangnam Jin Lucio. Who wins?
Jesus Christ, man.
Oh my god.
This is actually so nightmarish because Gangnam Jin, like, this guy is like, you ever seen like a, you know, like it's like the stereotypical sitcom of like a dad that's just like beaten down by life. Like a dad that's like, he has like 4 kids. It's like, he's just like, I'm working in the mines. Essentially, that's Gangnam Jin on Lucio. Gangnam Jin's Lucio is like the actual definition of like, he's been beaten the fuck down. He shouldn't be on this, but he has to do it to provide for his team. He's got to provide. And like, this is fucked up, dude. I would take Gangnam Jin Lucio over Krillin. Simply because Gangnam Jin, here's my reasoning. Gangnam Jin, if they ever have to play, like if they have to flex, I'd rather have Gangnam Jin on the double, like as a main support player in general, I'd rather be able to have Gangnam Jin to like flex to another role to help fill out the back line. And he's at least had 1 season playing it. And there's no way he can be worse because, and here's the reason, he was on the worst team on planet Earth last year's main support. That is the dick flattening machine. That is the absolute 2-dimensional dick maker, like right there. He's got to be like going to at least a slightly better team. It's like taking a weight off your fucking chest. Like he's going to be able to live for more than like 2 seconds at a time. Like it should drastically increase his odds of survival and like impacting the game. Because New York was so unbelievably giga hyper ass that like I think I'd still take the Gangnam Jin Lucio.
You know what? It's because Gangnam Jin has to put his kids through college, so he's got to do overtime in the mines. He's got to pump with that overtime in the mines.
He's in the Lucio mines. He's got to be doing it.
Probably C for me, guys. I think this team is a C.
This team could have massive like swing potential. They could like fucking shoot up after a couple of weeks, you know. But I think C is pretty safe right now.
I don't know why. I really wish, honestly, I just say fuck it and just be like, Gangnam Jin, you're playing flex support. Lucio Min, you're learning Lucio. Like, there's that. Like, honestly, I would just do that. Just be like, you're gonna learn Lucio. Like, it can't be worse than Gangnam Jin's Lucio.
You mean Krillin?
Yeah, I mean to see Krillin. Not I would say Krillin. I would be like, yeah, Krillin, you just play. Like, I just don't understand why Krillin is the main support pick, I should say. Like, I don't understand why Krillin's the main support for this team at all. But I guess there's just not.
That's how blacklisted Sanguinar is.
Sanguinar exists. Yeah, he literally exists. I just don't understand. Like, why do we need Krillin? Like, why? If you're gonna get Krillin, why not pick him up and put him on flex support and then pick up Sanguinar? Like, I just don't get it.
Dude, I think Sanguinar has committed a crime. He must be a convicted felon. That's why everyone's dodging him.
Oh my god, I can't.
Is he a booster?
I can't remember. Yeah, exactly. I read a Reddit comment somewhere. I don't know who it was, but they were like, surely this guy is a booster. There's no way teams.
That's like that has to be the only thing, right? Yeah. But like, does Korea still care about boosting even right now?
Yes, they do.
They still do.
They care enough that I legitimately believe Proper will not be on the Korea World Cup team because of the.
It would have to be
situation.
A major culture shift for them not to care about.
This fucking anymore. Melvin guy in chat. Dynasty DPS are better than Infernal, I'd argue. They are heavily underrating Prophet. Where does this guy get the juice?
He's only played Widow, man. He's played Widow on O2 Blast while his team gaped. Absolutely gaped to the other teams. Like, fucking inventory. He was going to Belseria ball full time in the APAC region. Like, no way. No way
Melvin,
you're saying
where
that.
Where are the scrim codes? Where are they?
Yeah, give us scrim codes.
Melvin guy in chat.
Melvin, give us the scrim codes.
Where are they? I mean, look, as much as I want to put Big P in the B tier, I just feel like this boat has so many holes in it. This boat has so many holes in it. I have one cork and I don't know what hole to plug.
This is absolutely C as fuck. This is my university level GPA. This is C as fuck right here. Like, put this in there. Like, put it in the C's.
Feels like, so bad though. This team has Void and Big P on it.
Yeah,
it's awful.
Yeah, but last season was just not impressive.
Also, if we're going off the Scrimbucks rumors, we don't have the codes, but people are saying that the Krillin main support is so bad that it's tanking this team. Like, it's literally killing this team. It is the drill tweet of like $200 please help my family starving. $200 on food, $300 on utilities, $6,000 Krillin main support. Please, someone help my budget. Like, it's like I just think this is like. That's the rumor, at least. That Krillin's main support is so bad that
Bro,
it's like killing this fucking team preseason.
When you need a 6th player, but you have to fill a main tank position, and then a DPS, and a main support position on your team. Seoul Dynasty legitimately need 3 more players, not 1.
They need the crypto sponsors, bro. They need the crypto sponsors.
They're gone. All my apes
they're all gone. They're all liquidating,
all my apes.
bro.
Surely there has to be one more NFT to milk. Anyway, moving on. We got one more team preview for the day, and Godspeed. I hope we can close it out before the 3-hour mark. I dread that 3-hour mark every time we do a freaking Plat Chat episode.
Why? Because you don't want to work hard? Like Gangnam in the Lucio mines? You're not just looking hard on?
You know, I'm deep inside of me, I'm channeling the Michael Jordan. I took that personally meme right now.
This is what happens when you spend 30 minutes talking about RuneScape,
not working hard for this fucking podcast, getting it out each week. How fucking dare you? I took that personally. We'll fucking go 4 hours.
I'm here to motivate you. I'm here to motivate you.
I'm going to fucking keep this pod going till you have to sign off and go back to your shitty work, okay? I'm gonna keep this pod going forever.
The villain arc, it's coming out. It's coming out right now. The villain arc, there it is.
Oh my god.
You got a content shoot today? You got a content shoot? Oh, sorry, I've asked. We're gonna keep going here for a while, you know? Keep it open.
This is Johnny's joke origin story.
We're gonna keep it going, man. That's how it goes. Sorry, bro.
Crazy.
All right.
Well, then let's keep it going. What's the next thing?
Team preview. Hangzhou Spark this time. I can't remember. Are these 5 or are they have 6 players? They have 6, right? They have 6.
Well,
they do.
Yeah, because they have Gushue,
which
they got
is
20.
Which is good. Oh no, sorry. I meant the number, not the player. But yes, they don't have like 17 players like they've done in previous.
No, they only have 6 players. Hangzhou Spark, all it took was a global economic collapse in terms of like VC money. And China continuing to have like 3+ years of COVID restrictions, and they finally done it.
How satisfying it is that 20's player number is also 20.
That is very satisfying.
Yeah, it's nice.
I wonder if that was intentional.
Yeah, probably.
Yes,
because you'd have to cancel the season if his name didn't match his number.
Dude, if he renamed 20 and his number was like 8, like what the fuck's that?
That'd be fucked up.
Yeah, that'd be fucked up.
That would be. That would be. It's like imagine he should have just changed his name to like changed his name to like Leaf. Could have had Leave and Leaf.
Christ.
I've asked how happy are you about the return of Elsa to the Overwatch League?
I'm actually really happy. I think Elsa's pretty good. I used to be, I still am big on Elsa. Like when I talked to, I can't remember what season. I think it was like the 2020 season where I was like, I'm pretty sure it was that when he joined Chengdu or was that 2021?
I was probably even 2019. No?
God,
no, but I think it wasn't 2019 because
2019
they didn't have a real tank player because they had like Among and they had their off tank was
oh my god.
Actually, no, I don't think it was.
That's a great trivia question.
I can't remember
2019 Chengdu Hunters.
Yeah, it was late young.
Oh,
it was late young. Yeah, so they had like, and late young was like a good Zarya, but like I didn't really put him on value comparatively. And then they got Elsa 2020. I was like, wow, this guy actually like fills holes. Like I think Elsa's a pretty solid player. I don't think he's like gonna win like or 20. I think 20 is not gonna win like championships for a team necessarily, but he's like gonna get the job done.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look at his stats actually. Didn't he have like a great season at some point?
Yeah, I have always thought that they were a pretty solid.
I mean, this
player.
is.
I actually think this team in general is like.
This is.
I'm
the
trying
Chinese
to think about.
Gargoyle.
I think this. I think this might be the. If I'm thinking about current APAC, can you think of a team currently better other than like the Fuel? Is like it's pretty much them and Infernal are like the best teams in APAC.
I mean, Hangzhou Spark is one level above. Yeah, I'd say they're the second best team.
I would say there's a very real.
Yeah.
There's a real chance that this is the best team in APAC.
I think to me, this is the favorite in APAC, even above Fuel.
Yeah.
Not just because of the forget about Edison. I mean, look, Hanbin's gonna be better than Gushue, Elsa, but the DPS line is just so fucking much better on Hangzhou.
And their support line is good. Their support line's good too.
Monk's honor was so sick. Holy shit. That is the hero that stands out for me for Monk.
Yeah, and they've gotten Ray back, right?
Yep.
That's super important because whatever it is, Leave only pops off when Ray's the head coach. Those two things are intertwined.
Doesn't Ray take a year gap?
Yeah, he only coaches in even seasons, and he takes a year off in the odd seasons.
We should start calling him Even Stevens. That'd be a funny nickname. Let's call him Even Stevens.
Did you guys watch the scrim between the Houston Outlaws and the Hangzhou Spark?
I didn't.
No, but don't care.
You leaked that, by the way.
I didn't.
Did Houston leak that?
I was Houston 100%.
Because I have a theory. When teams leak their own scrims, they're obviously only going to leak scrims.
I think, right? Did Violet accidentally leak it? I could be wrong.
So my theory on these leaks, sometimes they are just legitimately accidents, but when they get leaked and they're not accidents, you're obviously only going to leak scrims where you played well and your team did well. Right? You're not going to leak scrims where you
Hangzhou beat Houston on Kings Row, I think, if I recall correctly. And then on Ilios, they played like...
I just remember the clip. I just saw the clip of Leave playing Echo, and he just hunts down Pelican's Trace is what I saw. That was pretty satisfying.
There were some good moments. There were some bad moments. Hangzhou Spark. It definitely. I looked at those two VODs, and I think the takeaway for me was that it was like two very promising teams that just wasn't clicking. Like you could tell there was like preseason scrims. Some of the teamwork aspects, some of the team chemistry, I mean, it just wasn't there. It was close, but sometimes you'd had like Gushui go in with like Leave, and they do some dive, and like the back line would be like left out to dry for Spark, and it'd just be like a little bit all over the place. Lengsa was like caught alone on the Kings Row point A, and like Monk was doing his own thing. So it was like a little bit all over the place. But like, you could tell that these were like two very mechanically smart teams, but they were just a little bit off. So it looked promising anyway.
What I think about that situation, as someone that didn't look at the leak scrims, maybe I should, but then again, it's just, I don't know, all this scrim buck shit, I'm starting to get over it. Point is, if this team is competitive with Houston and even beating them in maps, and Houston is a team I consider to be at the very top echelon of all teams, both regions this year, that's a great sign for the Spark. Because Houston is legitimately like one of the best rosters we have this year.
It's a super team.
Yeah. So if Hangzhou Spark is taking maps and they're competitive, I mean, that's insane for the Spark.
It's fucking scary. This team has the potential just to blow everybody out of the fucking water. I can't believe we actually have Shy Leave still. Like, that's insane amounts of talent. I agree with AVRL. I think them being the favorites in APAC and even just being, I don't want to crown them too early, but fuck me, they could genuinely be the best team in APAC this year.
Yeah. At minimum, as good as Fuel, if not better.
Yeah,
I think they will be better. I think they will be the best team in APAC. I think also Lingsa being on the Valiant should be a war crime that should be tried at the international court. So I think that like Lingsa is like gonna be like it is the next generation of like very good Chinese, of like, we had like the old head Chinese main supports that are like very, very good, of like Xerneas and Super Rich and stuff. And I think Lingsa is that next generation of like, they're the ones that are supposed to like be the next, the Gen Z essentially, but not quite the Gen Z technically. I don't actually know Lynx's age, but just in terms of the generational coming in, I think their backline's going to be nuts. I think their backline's Lynx has had so much interest from so many teams in the West, like comparatively to any other Chinese player, just because like outside of like Leave essentially, but like no one's been able to bring them over.
He's got literally the packing 10 stamp of approval.
No one's been able to bring him over. Wait, like Valiant wanted him when it was under packing. Albert wanted him under Mayhem. Like, there's been a lot of different teams that have like looked at him to bring over, but it's just been like hard to do so. So I think this will be the team that will unleash their potential, and I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be. Yeah. I think they're gonna be by far the best team in APAC. I think Fuel would be better than them if they had a slightly better backline, but I don't rate Fuel's backline nearly as high. Big thing.
My take is when it gets this close, when you get to like Dallas Fuel versus Hangzhou Spark, coaching to me is just going to have such a huge impact. Because you look at this roster and you're like, they have all the pieces. This team could legitimately, I'm not kidding, like could win a championship. It all hinges on like coaching.
Oh yeah.
What is like the substitutions going to look like? What compositions are they going to play? How does Ray get them to play with each other? All these small details are going to make like the biggest difference. And, we know that Ray's a good coach, but then you look at Dallas Fuel. You could point out a few flaws on the Dallas Fuel, but because they have Coach Rush, it's like, I can't dismiss them. And so this is going to be one of those incredibly entertaining kind of like races to the top in APAC where I don't know if Dallas will be number one. I don't know if Hangzhou will be number one. It comes down to like the very small details. So that makes it very exciting.
I think there is a element of meta dependency for this team. I'm sure there is for a lot of teams, but specifically here, where if we're talking about their capability to win championships, I'll elaborate on that for you a little bit because I feel the same way in some respects, and maybe that is overrating them, but they would need some meta things to go their way. You would have to have ideally a Winston meta for Gushui. You want Shy on the Tracer, and you want Shy on Sojin, where Sojin can still take over the game. And then you have 3 players who are considered somewhere between top 1 to top 2 in that respective hero at their relative peaks. So we know that they have the capability of gapping just about anybody else in the league on that specific hero, or even adjacent heroes. If we talk about stuff like, okay, maybe Leave plays an Echo instead, or Shy goes towards a Widow or another hit scan, and for Gushui, maybe for him it's mostly just the Winston. Linksa and Monk is maybe the slight area where it's like, okay, you wouldn't consider either of them like super elite on their specific heroes or roles. I think we haven't seen, I think to Connor's point, Linksa hasn't been on a team that can really push potential yet, because Valiant's not going to be the team where Linksa is going to come out and really prove what he can do. He also does feel like the next best option in a way where, like, you know, you go down the list, it's like, okay, well, Ray's not going to work with Yveltal / Xerneas anymore. That bridge has supposedly been burnt. Nisha had a pretty shocking year last year, so that I don't think Ray wants to go down that road. So I guess Linksa is, and he both probably is the best option, and also by default the next best option anyway. And Monk I still think is likely the best flex support you'll get out of China. His only competition is Farway, so and Farway's most likely back on charge, and I think you'd still pick Monk over Farway anyway. So that's more than acceptable. Monk Anna is another situation, and that's the other thing as well. So if we're going to talk about best picks, if you're going to get into a Winston meta with Gushui, you're most likely going to get into Anna meta as well to back up that Winston, unless Kariko is still just way too OP, which would be the only downside for Monk. So I think, you know, you hit the meta stride with this team. Yeah, they could probably win a championship if everyone gets to play the best hero.
Yeah, and that's the biggest discrepancy, right? I think you could definitely look at both the Dallas Fuel and the Hangzhou Spark, and the meta will have a huge impact on either team. Because as much as people say that like Hangzhou Spark has great flexibility, if you have to pick between the Dallas Fuel or the Hangzhou Spark, if it's an off-tank meta, Hanbin...
it's done.
Hanbin has the edge. Like, Hanbin is going to be better than...
Elsa can't compete.
No, he can't. And, you know, that will be a great thing for the Hangzhou Spark when they play teams like Dynasty, when they play teams like Seoul Infernal. But if you want to win tournaments and you have to beat Dallas Fuel with Hanbin, with Elsa, that's an uphill battle. I'm not saying they can't do it, but I'm saying that I'll favor the Dallas Fuel. On the other side of the coin, if you're in a Winston meta and you're playing Gushui versus Hanbin, hey man, like, I'm sorry. Gushui is favored. Like, we know that, because is Hanbin's Winston going to be good enough? Probably not. So meta is going to have a lot of influence here, whether we consider Hangzhou Spark or Dallas Fuel the #1 team in APAC. But I'm extremely excited to see both of these teams compete against each other, hopefully quite frequently. The APAC region is going to be quite lit because Hangzhou Spark got this roster together. I'm very much looking forward to it. I feel like we did a pretty decent job there. We already touched a little bit on like Shy and Leave. I think, you know, we're all very excited about that as well. Is it a top 5 duo in the league? Probably. I don't want to get into that discussion again, but it's one hell of a damage line. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think unless anyone has any like stone unturned with the Hangzhou Spark, I think we can already go ahead and place them in the cheermaker. And now this is where it gets very exciting to see where you guys want to play a team like the Hangzhou Spark.
I think it's pretty obvious. I don't know about you boys. Yeah.
Well, I do think there's a devil's advocate here thing to be placed about, like, when we think of, like, because the question is just, are they S or A tier? But yeah. I think it's gonna be pretty. That's like the only question to be asked.
Yeah. I think if you're
but I mean, like, they have fucking. I mean, you got it. Yeah, they have to be S. They literally have to be S. They have.
If you're talking about them maybe winning a championship and having that potential, then
it's S.
I mean, like, Shy Leave is an S tier DPS duo.
Yes.
Monk Linksa, in my opinion, is an S tier support line, and even if they're not necessarily the best support line. And then I also think that, like, Gushui Elsa is like a solid. That might be the weakest part of this team, and it's still an A tier. You know. Like, that's like an S tier team if you balance it out. I don't think there's anywhere else you could put it, realistically.
Here's my concern, and here's what I'll say. I'm not saying this is not my opinion, but I'm just giving additional context. If we put Hangzhou Spark in S tier, we might set a precedent where we'll have to include more teams like them in S tier. And what I mean by that is, team like San Francisco Shock. I don't think it's anyone's surprise that we'll obviously put San Francisco Shock in S tier. But if we put Hangzhou Spark in S tier, that probably means we'll have to have a pretty complicated conversation around Atlanta Reign, Boston Uprising, Dallas Fuel, Houston Outlaws. Some of these teams.
I think there should be another tier between A and S at this point.
No, I don't think we need another.
Kind of cross that bridge when we come to it, but yeah, I guess it will be a battle.
Because like overall, I don't think there's really no point. Like holistically, still when you compare it like against those teams, I would take. I would take current Spark over Fuel. I think I would take current Spark purely on a roster thing. However, Rush works miracles. Rush does work miracles. And also, we don't know what Dallas's sixth player is going to be.
True.
If Dallas if they have another player, if Dallas picks up the right player, I would potentially put Fuel over them, right?
It's not Sanguinar.
Yeah. Not gonna be Sanguinar, apparently. So, I don't know. And then, like, because the only other people you for sure have an S, like, teams you have to have an S, right? Are like, you have to have Shock. You have to have, like, Houston. And you probably have to have, well, Rain. You should have Rain.
Maybe.
You probably should have.
Maybe.
Rain. I think you have to, because like I don't know like where they can't fit. Like
I'll say this. I think, you know, just there's no logic to this, but just gut feeling. It feels like if we have more than 4 S teams, we have kind of failed somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
So you want to do a bell curve of rankings where like we're adjusting them. We're like not.
Yeah, because my feeling is if we have more than 4 S teams, then we kind of need like another tier to like distribute 5
That's what Jack was saying, right?
S tiers.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't hate that idea. I think maybe you need another tier because
we will cross that bridge when we come to it. But I think having another tier. Do you not think, Connor? Like,
I don't. Why can't we just acknowledge that this year is insanely top heavy and there's a bunch of teams that could all beat each other?
That's fair,
but they're all way better than everyone else.
That can be your context too.
Yeah.
So
like that's how I view this
S,
year.
Though. Spark is definitely S.
I think Spark should be S because I think when I'm thinking of all the best teams in the league, Spark should be able to compete against them.
Yeah, I'm there.
Spark.
There's no shot there. Right?
Hangzhou Spark, our first S team in our tier maker when it comes to rating these teams. We have more to come. But Hangzhou Spark with Shy and Leave grabs the first S spot. Wow, this is going to be fun.
You know what it is? It's because you can see the light in the sun. You can literally like see in your mind like, holy shit, this team could be top 3, top 2, maybe the best even in that you get the right meta, the right heroes in the right situation. Ray pops off as well. He's cooking. Like you can actually picture this team being the best. Like it's possible. Whereas there's other teams where you're just like, yeah, they're really good, but I don't know if I could see them lifting a trophy. I'm like, I could actually see Spark doing some real shit. That's the crazy part.
The first team that gets on the S ranking for our tier maker this year is from the country that literally doesn't have a license to play the game. Good stuff. Very, very cool. Very cool. But that does it for our 3 team previews this year. I'd love to tell you, viewers, what teams we'll be talking about next week, but I honestly don't know. It depends on like official announcements and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll figure it out next week what 3 teams we talk about. Bren's player of the week to wrap us up. Who deserves Bren's player of the week?
Hardy
for League of Scrims, getting for Twitch subs
for scrims, literally selling scrim codes live on Twitch. That is funny as fuck. Actual Chad maneuver, getting the fucking bag for scrim codes. Love that shit.
I'm gonna throw in bro you whack for being a good streamer.
Hey, good.
Dude. I'm not going into more into this. Not going more into this. I mean, I'm gonna Johnny. What do you think?
What about Commander X from the Lone Spitfire for getting to private a scrim video and just releasing it to the public with comms?
That's funny. That is funny.
Wait, where's that? I want to see that.
It's like on the
It just
competitive
dropped.
Overwatch.
It literally just dropped. It's like very recent. Yeah, the scrim. When it rains, it pours.
No
the scrim
way.
deluge is through the roof. Additionally,
Oh my god!
I don't know
I
if
also
it's-
got.
That's how it happened. But
That is legendary.
they're saying that Commander X forgot to private the YouTube video, and so it was just available on his YouTube channel. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what they're saying.
Next boss will say, "Oh, our social media managers just forgot to not press send on this draft of the scrim code.
It was an email.
Forgot to delete the tweet."
Yeah, it was an email. Sorry, guys. Reddit is not loading for me, which means that I don't have any my own thoughts. Like
It means everyone's just dying to get onto the scrim, this leaked scrim. Everyone's like going on Reddit right now. It's broken the internet. Commander X is broken.
Reddit
the
is
internet.
down. Oh my god, what am I gonna do with my life? Yeah, you guys want to give it to Hadi for leaking scrims for Twitch subs?
Yeah.
I think it's a fun precedent. I think it'll be a good memory, a fun memory in the Brent's Player of the Week History Awards. It'll be fun. Scrims broke Reddit. You're damn right, Mesker. Okay, so next week we're doing Pro-Am preview. We'll be chatting about some of the tier 2 teams that made it and qualified. We'll be talking more about Scrimbox and everything that went down. And we'll see how many team previews we get done, because it might be a pretty busy episode. But thank you everyone for tuning in. And we'll see you next week for Plat Chat episode 170. Take care, guys. Bye.